We are live. Happy Sunday. Happy Easter. If you're somebody that celebrates Easter, hope you guys are doing well. You are rocking with Mr. Bet on you. Now, got some topics for you guys today. I'm going to be pulling up an article here shortly. I'm going to go over some things in that article that are pertaining to the topics tonight, the description that you see, the thumbnail. I saw it this week and I thought that's a little interesting. So, before I get too far into the show, thank you everybody for being in here. Shout out to everybody that's hit the thumbs up already. If you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up. Let me know. And also in the chat, give me a thumbs up that you guys can hear me okay before we start the show. A couple shout outs I see already. I see Holly in the house, Savvy Shopper, Scooter Bud, Leonard. I see Kevin, Richard, Daniel, Dasher Benz, Pitstar, Your Pilot, Scooter Bud, Richard as the 6-ringed Dasher, new subscriber. Let's go. What up? Hey, let's give you some love. Appreciate you for being a sub. Thanks for coming in. Happy Sunday. We do this every week. Jeff says, thumbs up. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so had a good day today. For those of you that are new here, I talk about like how the week was, how the day was, get into the topics, give some shout outs. We will have the live StreamYard stream open for you guys tonight. All right. And we'll see how we go. Tonight, I told myself this is either going to be a 2-hour show or a 4-hour show. I know that's a vast change. It's either going to be 2 hours or it's going to be 4 hours. Now, it'll be 2 hours if we keep it to the topics and we have some people coming on and we're chatting about some things and organically we go where we go, right? Gig topics. And it might be 4 because I do have other things on my mind. And if I feel like I want to get into that and you guys want to vibe with it, we might get into that as well. Now, so before we get in too far, I'm gonna pull this up real quick, and I'm not gonna read it yet, but I'm gonna show you guys real quick where I got this information from. So if you look at this right here, let's try it again. If you look at this is an article from Forbes. Gig economy drivers basically not happy, and is there trouble brewing amongst delivery drivers? They did a survey. I'm gonna share with you guys some of the results. I'm gonna read some of this to you guys, and I want your guys' opinion in the chat, and that'll be a topic of discussion tonight. And then we're also going to talk about a little bit of saturation levels in your market heading into summertime. Okay, it's April, so we're only a couple of months away from summer, and as we know, and anybody that's been doing this long enough, we're going to start seeing and hearing things in comments. Certain content creators will start making videos. I'm going to say it now because this is what happens, right? Summer slowdown. We're gonna start hearing that. It's slow. My market's slow. Oversaturation. Summer slowdown. I can't make money. Summer. And some of you, maybe it's different. Maybe you can make money. But most markets, we hear this summer slowdown. It's nothing new. But tonight we'll talk about why I think that happens most of the time during the summer. It's not rocket science, but there are some varying factors, and why I think this summer will be slower than the last few that we've had, at least the ones that I've been a part of, and what we can do to kind of, you guys share with us, I'll share with you what we can do to get ready for that so that we're proactive versus reactive. So we'll be talking about that stuff tonight. Now, before I get too far into the topics, this week was a decent week. $800 in the gig, 805 to be precise. I worked 2 half days. One day that was like about 8 hours. I worked an 11-hour day, and then I worked a 6-hour day. Not bad, but I definitely noticed it was slower, right? Especially a little bit of Friday, but not surprised. The Friday before a holiday, and today's Easter, typically going to be slower because you have people that are half days of work, so you don't get some of those work orders. A lot of schools close a little bit early. You don't get some of those school runs. People just doing different things. It was very nice. The weather was nice. As you get nicer weather, especially in a city like mine, people go out to do things. They pick up their own food. They go out for lunch. They're sitting outside on a patio. So you don't have as many opportunities, which is fine. So overall, good week. My acceptance rate dropped 30% this week. Started Monday, it was 77. At one point on Friday, it got down as low as 46. So it really dropped 31 percentage points. Yeah. So we don't take trash on this channel, but definitely noticed less things hitting my phone at certain peak times. And the reason for that is the saturation levels in my St. Louis market. My refer a driver, get this amount. A couple weeks ago was $1,800, and I showed you guys that. Friday or this week, $700. That tells me DoorDash added a lot more new drivers in my St. Louis market, with new drivers. As the old analogy says, like we say on this channel, it's like you're fishing in a pond or a lake, and you're used to having about 10 fishermen there. You guys can all pretty much eat throughout that week. You're getting about the same amount of fish. Well, we went from 10, we added 4 or 5 fishermen. So, but the pond itself didn't add more fish, right? Same amount of fish, more fishermen means you're going to see less opportunities, less bites, less money, possibly. So that was my week. Pretty solid week. Did a Wednesday live motivational hour. We talked a little bit about mental health. We might touch into that tonight as well. Mental health being a gig economy driver, somebody that does work by yourselves in your car with these apps that can be frustrating, and how that affects you. So we talked about that on the Wednesday motivational live. It was a really good hour there. So that's my week in a nutshell. Pretty good week. Nothing crazy, nothing great. Regular week. So let's get into the chat. I want to give some shout outs. Drop your market that you're in. Let the people know where you're doing gig work, whether it's DoorDash, Spark, Uber, Rideshare, Uber Eats, Instacart, Roadie Curry, Grubhub, whatever apps that you have. Let us know what market you're repping today, and rep it proud. Obviously, I was born in Chicago, but I rep St. Louis market. Love my market. Love the community. Love most of the customers. Love my fellow drivers. Also this week, the reason I want to also talk about the topic of drivers not happy doing gig work, and we're get into that article momentarily, is I did a reaction video yesterday of a TikTok of a driver that just went off on a particular on a particular customer. The customer tipped. The customer didn't do anything crazy, and driver just goes off, right? So we're going to talk about, hold on. There it is. Let's go right there. We'll start with that. 1 out of 3 drivers would strike. Now, what makes drivers unhappy? What gives us the idea of striking? What gives us the idea, 84% or so drivers say we're underpaid. Do you think you're underpaid? Are you properly paid? Oh, none of us are going to say we're overpaid, right? But why is that? That frustration mounts and builds, the mental health aspect of it. Why is it in our line of work we're very, very, very not happy? A lot of us are. Not all, but a lot, right? A lot. And a lot of people come to this, and I see a lot of new drivers, and they're frustrated because in the beginning they don't know they don't have to take everything. They have bad situations. They're not doing their money right. They're driving their cars, this, that, no tips, blah, blah, blah. A lot of unhappiness. So we'll get into that article in a moment here. So let me go ahead and pull up the live chat, give you guys some shout outs. I see Leonard in the house, driven for dollars, Dasher Benz, Lisa, Ralph. I see Raiders Guy 74. I see BS. I see Tim Gigwise in the house. He says, I am very happy doing gig work. We're going to talk about that article. That article lies, or it's about people that only work DoorDash. Maybe, Tim, but just because you're happy doesn't mean other people are having a similar experience. So we'll get into that article. Hector, what up? Roman, what up? Eric, what up? Lisa, let's see if I got some other names in here. Julia Collins, I see Jennifer in the house. Internet God. Okay, so JP's Corner, Miss Melissa, Dr. Nimnum, why won't DoorDash go up to $5? Great question. My response to that is they don't have to, because drivers are taking $2 and $3 orders. What's the reason to go to $5? Now, it would make a lot of us happy, maybe, and I think it will give us a short-term resolution to a bigger issue, but there's no need for them to do it. Daniel Hustle, welcome to the Kobe All-Star level. What up? Daniel Hustle 303. And Belk, what up? Pedro told me no tip, no trip after my first day of DoorDash. You know it, Internet God. Don't be a sheep. What up? Eric, Kevin, Hannibal is hungry in the house. Most people hate their W-2 jobs, so actually 1 out of 3 not happy isn't that big of a surprise. Very good point. And I was going to get into the W-2 versus gig economy. Think about this. If we polled most people at their jobs, do we get similar results? Less, more, right? And I think a lot of us, like Gigwise Tim, representing St. Louis like me, shout out to the 314. I think a lot of us do kind of like gig work, right? Because we have a little more freedom and flexibility than some traditional types of W-2 9 to 5. And I think a lot of us came to that work either because of that, or we came to it in a different way and we stayed because A, we can make money, and B, it's like, man, I don't have a boss. Man, I can take any day I want off. Yeah, it sucks sometimes, but every job sucks. It's a job, right? Unless you're doing something that you absolutely love and is your passion, you're going to have some issues, right? But 1 out of 3 said they would strike. Let's get into that article right now, actually, because I don't want to make you guys wait too long. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate the 252. Hit the thumbs up so we can get this pushed out to the algo. What up, Ronald? All right, so let me pull up this article here, and I want to see, hopefully I do this correct. Y'all know me, the technology with Mr.BetonYou ain't always primed. But, and you know what's funny? I'll share a side story. I was actually looking for some monitors. I'm going to get another monitor, like some monitor versus a laptop, so that I could easily share things and make it. I just got to do it. I was lazy. I looked at some things that, like this past week. I didn't buy one yet, but I'm definitely going to do that. Okay. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys. Let me see 1 second. So if I go here, you should see a little bit of it, but if I go there, you should see a lot more. Now, I'm going to pull this up on my end and see if I can't read it. Hopefully you guys can still see it. Let me see something here. I don't know what that is, but let's get rid of that. Okay. So let me go scroll down. As I'm scrolling, do you guys see me scrolling? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you can see it going up and down. And then do you also still see me? Let me look at the chat here in a second. I don't think there's too much of a delay. I just don't want to waste your time or mine. M. Belk says thumbs up. I don't know if that's a thumbs up from earlier. Are you just popping in? Gig work, LOL. Yes. Ricky Day says yes. Andre says yes. So we're good. Perfect. Look at it. I actually did something right the first time. Let's read this article real quick. A problem is brewing among delivery drivers. Now, this is not just DoorDash, and we'll get into that in a second. Look at this lovely lady doing packages. Looks like she's doing Amazon or something like that. Okay. So according to a new study, now listen, studies are studies. That's why there's that little number there, right? You know, did they do 1,000 people, a million? Well, we'll get into that maybe, but listen, it's a study, right? By last mile delivery software company Circuit, Google searches for delivery driver jobs have increased by 479% in the past 2 years. Not surprising. What's happened in the past 2 years? You know, obviously we had the pandemic. We had a lot of people rethinking and reshifting their focus on how they make money, how they value their work-life balance. Huge percentage, and in most analysts say 2023 that number is going to continue to grow. 2024, as times get hard, people look for other ways to make money. We all know that here. It's an indication that as home delivery has grown, the number of people who want the job has grown as well. Clearly, demand goes up. What we see as far as advertisements, job opportunities goes up because the demand is high. New drivers know about the opportunities and it strikes the interest. But once they have the job, drivers don't seem so happy in it. Of the drivers surveyed that drive for Amazon, DHL, DoorDash, FedEx, Grubhub, Postmates, all, Uber Eats, all the ones, right? Average of 84% said they are underpaid. I'm not surprised by that. That is a high amount, though. 77% of all drivers surveyed said that they are planning to get a second job to keep up with the inflation. Wow. And 15% already have one. Yeah, a lot of people have 2 ways of making money, guys, whether it's W-2 or gig work. A lot of people have a W-2, part-time, full-time, and then they supplement income with this type of work. Almost 3/4 would go on a strike to fight for higher wages. That's the one that kind of rang my bell, and I was surprised by that number. Okay. Hannibal, I agree. I think UPS and FedEx drivers are definitely well better paid. I mean, those guys make $40 an hour plus, right? I mean, who doesn't want to make $40 an hour? Listen, if you're making $40 an hour, you are in the top echelon of earners. I need to say that right now compared to the average American. So good point there. Geography makes a difference. Adjusted for population, searches for delivery driver jobs are highest in Georgia, Texas, Arizona, California, Maryland. So the people that are looking up what kind of delivery jobs are there out there? Georgia, Texas, Arizona, California, Maryland. Do those states have things in common? I think so. But that's not where the highest pay for delivery drivers is. Drivers in North Dakota are the highest paid, $46,000, and no other state is higher than $43,000. Wow. Okay, a little surprised by that, but it is what it is. California is second, followed by Massachusetts, Oregon, and New Jersey. So obviously California has some legislation. Massachusetts has some things. I don't think Oregon and New Jersey do. The lowest paid are in Arkansas, followed by Louisiana, New Mexico, North Carolina, and Nevada, smaller markets, right? The highest percentage of state populations that are delivery drivers is in Tennessee. Interesting. Okay. UPS points out that their rates are for new drivers. Okay. So it's also lumping in some W-2 people, right? For delivery drivers, it's not just 1099, right? The delivery economy can only exist if last mile drivers are on the job. There is a tension in the data that says on the one hand how many people want the job, and the other hand how unhappy drivers are with their pay. Yep. So usually, if you're unhappy, you're not going to stay there long. Let me skim this and see if there's any other really good points. Technology to make delivery more efficient will help, but there's a limit to how much technology can do. As with self-driving cars no longer to implement, than planners count on. The situation has the potential to upend the trend to home delivery. Interesting. Let's see. I want to see. There was another part here. Footnote: how the survey was conducted. It says Circuit used data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Indeed.com, Google, and DoorDash, and all these apps are on Indeed, and they advertise on Google. You'll see Google ads. They advertise on YouTube. All that stuff, right? So listen, I won't bore you with all that kind of stuff anymore. Now, let me get back into the StreamYard if I can. Okay, let's go there. Let's pull my beautiful face back up at the top. Okay, now that I bored everybody to sleep, shout out to all y'all. Listen, what numbers, and talk amongst yourselves in the chat. And when I open a StreamYard, we could have a discussion about this as well. The one thing that got me, and there's a lot of different news articles, studies, the gig economy, food delivery specifically, is on the rise, and it has been. It's talked about virally on TikToks and YouTube and Facebook. There's all these forums, a 497% increase in how to make money being a delivery driver in the gig economy in the last 2 years. Not surprised by that. But 33% of people would consider striking for more pay. Now, if we're talking about UPS, FedEx, and the W-2, not surprised by that. But if we're independent contractors striking, listen, everybody has an opinion on that, right? And there are sides of that fence. There's people on both sides. And there's things that this side says, why they're striking and why they want to have their voice heard, that I agree with. And then there's things on the other side like, no, we're independent. We can't do that. We can't do that. It doesn't make any sense, right? We're not employees. Totally get that as well, right? I think you have to be open-minded to listen to both sides. But 33%, man. That seems high to me, but listen, that's just, I'm a novice. I'm not into all these articles. I don't read a lot, but it was shocking to me. It's a high percentage, right? And you see people that do strikes in this gig work that we do. Teachers, obviously, laborers, steel workers, electricians, your local IEWs, like all, you see it. I see it. Construction workers, I see it in St. Louis sometimes, right? You'll have people striking and there's like a big rat next to them and they got the signs and like, hey, they're doing their thing. They're having their voices heard, right? But in the gig economy, when we're delivering McDonald's, let's stick to the work that we do. Let's take the FedEx and the UPS out because I've never done that. I can't relate. But we're delivering McDonald's and Papa John's, and we're occasionally going to shop for somebody at Aldi or a local grocery store. We're delivering pizzas. Should we strike? I've talked about this a few times. Y'all know my opinion. I don't think we should. I think it's a weak look for us. I think if you think about what we really are, basically, if you're striking, you're saying, well, I just want to be an employee. I want to turn this work into an employee-based W-2 model. I don't agree with that. But the people that say, well, Pedro, we don't have everything's not great. Look at the low pay. Look at the information they're hiding. They don't show us all the information. We want transparency. I want some kind of benefits. I want a stipend. I want the things I have in Cali. Hey, I hear you. But if we go to that place, what does it mean for us? Let's say we have that this year. What does it mean for us next year? What are they going to take away? Are we going to have to then schedule? Do we have the freedom and flexibility? Probably not. And I think most of you guys, let me know, talk amongst yourselves in the chat and I'll see some. Isn't freedom and flexibility and the way that we could independently make our ends meet, isn't that why we do this? Does anybody love delivering McDonald's and Papa John's? I hope you don't love it. I hope you might like it. You can tolerate it. I hope you don't love it, right? So why, is it worth us making, let's say, is it worth us scheduling and possibly not having the opportunity, because they wouldn't need as many of us if we had to take everything and had to schedule, they'd be able to schedule it out. And there'd be, we wouldn't be able to just hop on as most of us can. Think about Uber. You can hop on anytime. There's never a schedule. There's never a grayed out zone. Uber doesn't end it's easy. So think about if you're an Uber driver now, like gig-wise, Tim's in here. Imagine having a schedule and having to take everything. Wow. Would you want to do that? But then maybe you make an extra, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000 a year? Is it worth it for you? For some, maybe it would be. For others, it might not be. Think about having something come up, and now you have to like not schedule yourself or take yourself off, and then you get a write up in your Uber app or your DoorDash app. Sorry, you've already had so many requests off this week. You've ended your dash too early. We're gonna have to give you a write up, and if you get another 3 of these, we're gonna deactivate your account. What the fuck? Can you imagine living in a gig economy like that? No, thank you. No, thank you at all. Right? But I want to talk about that tonight. Gig workers being unhappy. Just, unjust? Do our feelings matter about what the work that we're doing if we're independent contractors? Clearly they matter. But should they matter to the companies? We're 1099. Strikes, gig worker strikes. What do you think about that? And in the saturation levels, because I believe we can tie it in your market, definitely noticing some changes in St. Louis. I keep my head on a swivel. And when I walk into restaurants, I know most of the dashers. It's very rare I run into somebody that's new or I haven't seen before. Just because I'm out and I've done it a lot. And I'm a people person. I know the workers. I just know it, right? And new people come to these apps every day. But I'll tell you what, this week specifically, and a little bit of last week, never seen so many fresh red bags. Never seen so many wide-eyed dashers. Never had so many people I've seen ask weird questions to the work staff. I've never seen so many new drivers ever in the, I guess, almost 3 years I've been doing this or whatever. So that tells me they've added a lot of new people, and my saturation levels are definitely shifted. And I never thought it was oversaturated here. So let me say in the chat and read. I know I've been rambling. That's the show topics tonight. Hector, what up, smagging ass? I'm nefarious. I didn't see any dashers at the Walmart. Oh, of course you didn't, Gigwise. What up, Scott? What up, Ralph? What up? What's up, Welty? Develop a personal brand with value, because the bottom line is there's a tremendous limit to what we truly even deserve for providing some convenience at mealtime. I mostly agree with that. I think we have to sometimes, and I've had this conversation on this channel with this community, and you guys have been very welcoming when I say things that are very different. Thank you, Kevin. We have to realize the type of work we're doing, and we have to realize our market value and place within that work. And we have to be okay with it. For 95% of us, we're doing this. It's very short term, and it's a small amount of our income. For the ones that are doing it full time, those are the ones more affected by the changes of the apps, the seasonal changes, the app pay, the frustrations. But we have to understand what the apps understand, the CEOs, the software engineers. Most of the people that do these apps are extremely part-time for an extremely small amount of time. That's just a factor of it, right? Because there isn't a lot of money and it's not very, very sustainable, right? So we have to know what is our place within that marketplace of the service we're providing. And if anybody can get on the app, and I mean anybody can do DoorDash, what does that mean? What is that? Doesn't that show us how we're valued? Isn't the customer also showing us what we're valued based on the tips in your market? DoorDash tells us how based on other factors. Think about that. And that's why we're always talking about what's the next step? What's the next stepping stone? Because for most of us, this will not be the long-term solution. And I know when I say that, there are some people that do not like it because that is their plan from now until whenever. And there isn't an exit strategy. There isn't a stepping stone. That's okay. For those men and women, you guys will probably be fine, right? But that's not the majority. So good comment there. All right. So I was offered a W-2 back in car sales, and I know I can make $8K a month. Plus doing that, I do what I want to give up my freedom. Driven. Yeah. Car sales can be good. Noah Dasher, what up? Most people don't have the discipline to do it long term. So there's lots of super time dashers, aka they don't let. Yeah. Super part-time. Yeah, I agree with that. It does take discipline. It does take a little bit of, listen, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think anybody can do DoorDash. Something's going on. There's like these sirens, like somebody got an accident or something. I think anybody could do DoorDash. And listen, this isn't to offend anybody because listen, I do DoorDash 4 or 5 days a week. I think I could teach a 16-year-old that just has a license could do DoorDash. Most 12 or 13-year-olds could do DoorDash on a scooter. It's very easy. Now, if you really want to make good money and more profits and sustain yourself, you got to have a head on your shoulders. You got to be a little bit smart. You got to be adaptable. You got to be good with numbers, good with planning. Most people that do these apps are not those things. or they are very part-time and they're doing it for the extra $100 a week, right? Or maybe if they're part-time but like close to full-time, maybe it's an extra 400 because they do two shifts at 2 days a week, that they W2 and then they do it on the weekend, so they make $400 or $500 and they're pushing it. That's still kind of part-time, but it's part-time full-time. But most people turn on the apps, they're running errands, their kids are in school, they're doing some shopping, boom, $50 here, a little gas money, $100, boom, boom, boom. That's how people work these apps. And it's so convenient and easy to get on them. I don't blame them. I think it's a good way to make that type of money. But for most of us, it's not going to be a great way to make it like super long term. I wish I had some data. How many drivers out of the millions have been doing this for 5 years or more? What percentage of drivers? Before I get in, I'm going to open a StreamYard up. Before I do that, what percentage of drivers in the gig economy doing either rideshare, will include rideshare, they count, and or food delivery or shopping? They could do all three or just do one of the three. What percentage do you think currently have been doing it for 5 years or longer? Drop a percentage in the comment section. And we're going to get this show started. Shout out to the 371 in the building. Hit that thumbs up. I'm going to read some comments before as I share this. What percentage? Cyberzone says 5. Okay. Hector says less than 20. Okay. Nova Dasher says, ooh, look at Nova's 0.0000.1. David Scrooge, thank you. Let me pull this up real quick. Hold on. Thanks for the super chats, guys. Appreciate those. Let's read this comment. Let's see. Oh man, it goes fast. I go hardcore on DoorDash. Oh Lord, but also run Uber Eats. Getting ready. Okay, hold on. Getting ready to get in onto Spark, but I feel like it's harder to make money on DoorDash. Been doing this 3 years. I think for most people, David, DoorDash is the app that's the harder one to make money on because they do play more games. I do believe that. Edward Lee, thank you. I saw one from you as well. Let me put that up here. Edward Lee says, let's call it we're the lowest skilled workers. Ooh, I don't think that's true. I think there are other jobs that are less skilled than what we do, but it's definitely not a skilled type of job. There's no certification. There's no trade skill. There isn't, there's not even on-job training. So you have a good point. But I do think there are other jobs that are less skilled than what we do. And even in the food industry, jobs that are less skilled. But that is a good point. All right, let me read. So I got 8 years. Nomadic's been doing it 8 years. Qualaya says 5%, 10%, very low numbers, 5%, 7%. In California, 70. Oh, that's a high percentage, April. But California is very unique. So I will say that. I'm not surprised that you would say that. 20% says ghost. Jody says 33. So Jody McCormick, shout out. McCormick, 33%. That's high. I think that's high. That's my opinion. Let's see. I'd say 10%. Okay. I think 10% seems, for some reason, that number just seems like that would be very, 1 out of 10 people have been doing this 5 years or more. I could rock with 10%. I'm going to go with that. That's going to be my best educated guess. 10%. All right. Hannibal says, he says, hey, I would Hannibal drop me a percentage. I didn't see what's Hannibal's, because Hannibal is in the now with a lot of stuff. I know Hannibal's well read. He looks at a lot of articles, this, that. He's in Hannibal. Let me know. What's Hannibal and Red Gig Wars official? Drop a percentage for me. Yes, Hannibal, we know you're rep from Brooklyn. Drop a percentage. I want to see that. And I'm going to go ahead and share this StreamYard link. We're going to get this show popping here. Shout out to the 380. Let's see if we can get 400 people in the building. Hit that thumbs up for your boy. I do read from time to time. I know you do. And you do the TikToks. You got this, you got that. You're a smart dude. So that's why, nomadic gig econ mom says 5%. Okay. I don't think you're far off from that. And I think, if anybody is feeling wild right now, okay, I bet we could find this information. There's probably a study done somewhere. The longevity, the average life expectancy of a gig driver, and then we could do some math and deduct a little bit, right? Dashing Grandpa, what's up? Let's see. Andre says, I'd say low skilled is the wrong term to use describing DoorDash work. Yeah, It's not a high skill, but low skill is not the right term. I would also agree with that. Hannibal's probably doing some Swift keyboard typing right now. He's probably going to find us an exact answer. So, Chris Boy, what's up? He says, I think you're in Australia, right? I'd be surprised if 20% make it past 1 year. I agree with that statement. In New York's and NYC rideshare drivers, I'll say 30% are long-term. Many Uber, Lyft have been around for years. That I can see in NYC. I think there's good money there. And I think the demographic there is very different than most of the nation, but I think that's an accurate statement. All right, let me go ahead and share this StreamYard with you guys. See 15, 20%. And we're going to get the conversation popping. We're talking about an article we just read from Forbes, a study. 33% of gig delivery drivers said that they would strike for better wages. 84% believe they're underpaid. And I think 77%, I forget what the 77% was. It doesn't matter. We're talking about workers being unhappy and why. And should we strike? Should we expect things? We're 1099. Oh, that's the conversation we're going to have tonight. And we can get into a little bit of mental health, being a gig economy driver, being by yourself in your car, dealing with these frustrations, being unhappy. And like people said earlier, W-2 people are unhappy as well. This isn't just us. We're not the only people that have this problem of not feeling heard or happy or fulfilled or equal or paid respectfully, right? But this is the work we do. So we're going to get into that, right? But when you feel undervalued, underpaid, overworked, frustrations come in. You don't like your job. Then what happens? You're at home. You're stressing about money, bills, boom, boom. Mental health, things, everything kind of starts with, unfortunately, because the country is designed the way it is, which is fine. I'm good with it. I don't know about y'all, for the most part, at least, as far as the money goes. You know, we have to work to live, right? So your frustrations, a lot of us, come from money, lack thereof. And even if you have a lot of money, that comes responsibility, and you're frustrated and mentally stressed out. Your health can be bad either way. But I'm telling you what, right now, as somebody that has been broke, it's not fun. It adds a lot of physical and mental stress in your life when you are working and working and working, and you're like a hamster on a wheel and you're not getting anywhere. There's not many more things that are more frustrating than that, because it affects every aspect of your life. Not paying bills, not doing this, not being able to provide, not being able to take your girl out. Your girl gets mad. You can't provide for your kids. You got to do this. You're working overtime. Boom, boom, boom. Taxes, this. Inflation, rent goes up. Like, it's stressful, right? All right. Let me stop the yapping. Let me share this StreamYard with you guys real quick and see if we can't get it popping. There we go. Copy. Ooh. Guests can stream this to their own destinations. Interesting. Well, I didn't turn that on. I don't know what that means. I have to look into that later. StreamYard's updated some things, so I think that's pretty cool. I got to look into it. So I'm going to paste it. Boom. I'm going to pin the link to the StreamYard at the top of the show. So it's the pin message. If you've never been on, would love to have new people come on the show and share your perspective on the topics at hand. If you don't know about the topics, these are the topics. 33% of gig delivery drivers, based on a study, say they would strike to get better pay. I'm against that, but I understand it. 87% say they are underpaid. And a lot of drivers are not happy in the delivery service game that we're in. They're not happy. So I want to hear from you guys. Share, why do you think that is? Like, share that with the audience tonight. We'll have a good conversation. So, and if nobody wants to come up, I'll just end the show. That's lies. I could talk for hours, trust me. Okay, we'll let some people pop in here. Let's put up this banner real quick. Oh, I don't have my ticker running. Hold on. Let's get that ticker. Listen, what's the ticker say? The best live show around, every Sunday at 9 Central. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and join the interactive chat. Listen, I don't know who wrote that, but that sounds pretty dope. I want to go to that show. Man, who's running that show over there? Sounds like they're having a great time. Okay, let's go to the comments. Let's go here. Let's talk about this one too. We're also talking about market saturation levels. That can be a topic based on what you guys got going. Nova, I see you, brother. Bring you up in a minute. I'm gonna put this here. 1 out of 3 drivers would strike. Wow, what do you feel when you hear that? What are you thinking about? Are they emotions? Are you mad? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you surprised? 1 out of 3 drivers would strike. Would you strike? Let us know that as well. Julius Jones, what's up? Brandon Diaz, what's up? Pedro, shave your head at 50K subs. Brandon, listen, I think you've said that before. I will not be shaving my head like Nova Dasher. Listen, he's got great set of hair. He's got a line. Nova's looking good. I can't rock that. I'm older. I got a receding hairline. Can't do it. Plus, I'm going to hit 50K in probably 3 months. Shout out to y'all. We hit 44,000 subscribers today. I was talking to my dad about it. He was like, yeah, I watched the videos over my dad's today for the holiday, and we all hanging out. He goes, I watched some of your videos this week, man. You're really crazy. I was like, yeah. And he was, give me some shit. But shout out to my pops. He's a real one. And he goes, yeah, you're going to hit 44 pretty soon. I was like, I'm going to hit it today. And then I hit it tonight. So thank you guys. So we'll hit 50K very soon. And I can't shave my head. My girl will leave me. I'll look like a fool. Can't do it. Sorry. Now, if we get to like some crazy number, I might do something, but I ain't shaving my head. I'm going to leave the bald head look to Nova. He wears it really well. I can't do that. I need to rock the craziness. All right. So I see Chris. Chris is going to show up. Love it. I see Nova. Got some new faces. This is going to be a good conversation. I see Judge. I see the Matrix. Awesome. I'm going to bring you guys on right now. Let me go and get rid of this screen here for a second. Boom. Okay, so let's bring up these gentlemen. We got Nova Dasher. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, man?
See, I can't rock with you guys. It won't look good on me, man. When I was younger, I could. I can't do it anymore.
I can't see for me. I can't do long hair because I got this awkward stage that takes way too long. So
yeah. Listen,
I just keep it short.
I hear you. All right, we got Chris in the house. Hey, welcome to the channel, Chris. How are you, man?
Hey, doing well, man. Happy to be here. We've always had this conflict on time zones. I think you're running on Sunday night right now, and it's midday Monday in Australia right now. So finally, I've got a long weekend, so I'm jumping on the show.
Love that you're here. Shout out to Australia. It's Monday over there, so he's in the future, guys. Okay, we got the future in the building right now.
I tell you guys, the sun comes up, and it's another day tomorrow. So it's all going to be good.
And big fan of your channel, man. That video, that last one I saw that you put out, I think a couple weeks back, really, really good. So I know I commented on it. I think you saw it. Really good video, man. Thank you. All right, so
cheers, man.
We got Judge Dre. Judge, you with us? Judge,
yes, I am. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I actually, look forward. I'm actually going to be starting my channel soon. Awesome. I've been working with my dude here to do some editing. I got over 6,000 orders since I've been a DoorDasher. So I'm not even going to lie. I have a lot of ways. My points of views are probably totally against a lot of you guys. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to destroy this company with their bad antics.
Well, we can get into some of that. We'll talk about some topics tonight, and I would love to hear your perspective. And if it's different, that's even better. So stand by.
It's definitely different because I'm not going to lie. My goal at the end of the year is to hurt their market share. Okay. So I recommend any dashers right now that if you know that you're doing this is your only time, look for something else.
Interesting. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Let me get the Matrix up here. The Matrix, how you doing, brother?
Good night, mate.
Oh, yes, Australia in the house. But he's not. Listen, Matrix, you can't fake the funk. You're not Australian. So let's not go there.
Just one of our new guests here.
Yeah, Denise, thank you. New to your channel, just started DoorDash 2 months ago, and I was watching your channel to get me started. Thank you for been a very big help. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very, very, very much. All right, so I think we got one more person standing by. Edward Lee, I see you as well. We got my man Parker in the building. Parker, how you doing, man?
How about you?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. All good.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And I think there was one more person. It looked like Rideshare Rodeo was here, but I think he just paused out. So if I see you come back in, I'll bring you up. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up this banner again for you guys. So we're talking about a couple topics. 1 out of 3 drivers would strike for better pay. So we're going to kind of go around. I want you guys to give me what you think about that when you hear that. 84% of drivers in the gig economy are saying they feel underpaid. And then we can also get into a little bit of the market saturation, right? Because I think, that might correlate because I think when these companies know that a lot of their workforce, the people doing the work for their company is not happy, they feel underpaid, they see all the news, they see these things, if I'm them, I'm not going to lie. Okay, that tells me I need new drivers, right? If I got unhappy people, I got to get new drivers. That's what they're doing. Instead of fixing some of the issues, they're just going to say, let's pump some new blood in. We know the turnover rate's really, really high. So they're not worried about what Pedro thinks, because they could, get another one to me tomorrow and it's not a big deal, right? Let me bring in Rideshare. I don't see, where's he at? I don't see him. Okay. So let me start with Nova. What do you think, man? 1 out of 3 drivers would strike. What do you feel about that? And would you strike? Is there anything that would happen with the apps that would say, you know what? I'm going to strike. I'm not going to work this week or this month or this day. Give me your thoughts.
I think I saw Hannibal's comment that says most of us are not united, so it wouldn't work. And I think it's pretty accurate. I think if I were to go down all the dashes that I know, they'll be like, why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. It's not going to do anything. And I think in the last 3 months, I've seen the bonus, to refer someone just increase and increase and increase. And so just now recently decreased. But for a long time, it wasn't even there, Like, and the fact that they even have these crazy referrals, and I've seen some other ones that are like $20 if you do 1 delivery in 7 days. That's super simple to do. 1 delivery in 7 days for $20. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but
yeah,
I think, like you said, they just want to pump new dashers in. But like you said, when you see someone and they have the fresh red bag and they got like a DoorDash mask or like a DoorDash t-shirt, I'm like, I'll see them one day and next thing I'll never see them anymore.
Yeah.
Or for example, I've seen people that used to do DoorDash, but now they work in the restaurants and, I couldn't, it was too uncertain. It was one day it was busy, one day it was slow. With the W-2, you kind of know what you're getting no matter what, even if they don't like it.
Yeah.
So I that's why I think a lot of people can sign up, but they're not going to last, in my opinion.
That's a good point. Chris, what do you think? And are any of these kind of issues we're talking about here? Do you see any of this in Australia? Kind of give us your perspective.
Yeah, so I think I need to prefix this a little bit. So DoorDash likes to run a lot of A/B testing on different ways to work things. And right now, Australia's kind of being treated like guinea pigs a little bit before they roll stuff out to America. So, a perfect example would be, I see a lot of stuff around, say, your scheduling. It's hard to get schedules and there's too many new drivers coming in and we can't get schedules. Australia's currently got an open schedule. Anyone can log in at any point to any zone. There's no restrictions. So we're seeing the opposite end now where it's not about getting in, as everyone can log in and the market's completely saturated and wiped out. So we're seeing earnings impacted down that way. So we're trying to find that kind of balance, I guess. If I log into DoorDash for a day, is there going to be 50 drivers on in that little dinner or lunch rush I'm doing, or is there going to be 10? And we got no indication. So it's just too unstable at this point to kind of predict your earnings across a shift. And I think for a lot of people who kind of rely on these earnings coming through and aren't doing it just as a side hustle, when you can't predict your income for the week and you don't know if you're going to pay your bills, can't pay your bills, what have you, it puts a lot of stress on drivers as they're coming in. We're seeing the recruitment drive on Australia right now as well. I think best way to put it would be Australia's a new market. So we're still opening up DoorDash in new towns and new cities all around Australia. So while you guys have been running for many, many years now, DoorDash only kicked off in 2019 over here. So we're still getting, I guess, market share, people understanding what DoorDash is. If you put 100 Australians into a room and say, name 3 delivery companies, they'll say Uber Eats, that one with the Snoop Dogg ads. Yeah, I don't know, maybe Domino's Pizza. Most Australians don't know what DoorDash is. So we're still trying to get people to understand that. For drivers, we want more people to use DoorDash. But if they just don't know about us, it's difficult.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And how long have you been in the gig economy, Chris?
Yeah, I kicked off. I found out about DoorDash from a friend at a barbecue. I was having a few beers, and he just finished his very first shift himself, and that was in 2021 November. So probably 18 months, something around that now. And it was very strange to us because we thought, okay, we pay $5 for a delivery. So I guess the drivers get paid that, or we assumed that they're all on full-time wages or part-time or casualized wages over here. Gig economy, being paid per contract, very, very foreign concept in Australia. So it throws a lot of people off when they sign up. They're like, how come I'm not getting paid $28 per hour? How come I'm getting paid $35 per hour? Right. So it's a radical mind shift for the average Australian worker. But those who can adapt to it and treat it like a hustle, they really get amongst it and they go for it.
Yeah. And I think tipping culture is different in Australia too, I would imagine. Can you touch on that just quickly a little bit before? I want to get your perspective on that a little bit and share it with the audience that isn't aware before I go to the other guys.
Yeah, this will blow you Americans' minds. You physically cannot tip in the customer app for DoorDash. You cannot tip as a customer. We have to rely off no tips.
So everything. So when you see an offer, it's all base pay.
All base pay. Nothing varies. There's no maybe higher or anything like that. It is just a base pay offer that comes through.
What's the average? What's the average order you see on your phone?
It's starting to race to the bottom a little bit. It used to be pretty consistent. I ran a couple of hundred orders through. It used to be $4 on a base plus $1 per kilometer, and that was pretty static, maybe 50-cent variance across it. But over time, they've started to drop it down. I think it was November last year. They've dropped it by, I think, 73 cents on the base pay, and now they're starting to test it a little bit lower again to see if drivers will take it. The thing is,
so that's a significant drop. If you were at $4 and let's say you're at $3.25, that's a good percentage of a chunk.
Well, yeah, our floor was $6.23. That was the lowest we could get offer before November, and then they dropped it down. Now $5.50 is the lowest offer. And we're starting to see them test with add to route orders dropping even further and further and further down now. I think the lowest I've seen is about $4.
And that's also the Australian dollar too. So there's a conversion difference there. He says dollar, there's the Australian dollar versus the US dollar.
Yeah. So I got one more question for Chris, and then I got a statement and I want to get with Parker here next. We're talking about striking, 1 in 3 gig workers or delivery drivers would say they would strike because they feel underpaid, right? Is striking something that is in your country? Is that normal? Is it something that you guys as a workforce use to be heard? What do you guys? How do you guys work that out in Australia?
It's a red hot topic right now. We've got the Transport Workers Union firing up. So currently they're in talks with Uber and DoorDash. They're working out memorandums of understanding, trying to get essentially unionized to gig work. And it is building a wall between workers right now. People are saying, fuck, I don't want to be an employee. No way am I going with the union. Others saying, you know what? I'm not getting paid enough, so I want to employee up. Let's go for it. So when it comes to striking, currently, there's your standard picket strikes and stuff that happen. And these are people that want to transition this across into a more employee type role. So there are strikes happening, but widespread that's not. The current one they're using is the McKell Institute report. It only came out in April, and 57% of Australian workers that responded to the survey are saying that they're earning below minimum wage. And that's concerning, but I take these reports with a grain of salt. I think there's 200,000 to 250,000 gig workers in Australia, and that's rideshare and food delivery. But 1,000 respondents came through, and they were all kind of directed by the Transport Workers Union to respond. So it's a very, very selection. There's a lot of selection bias has happened with these reports, and we see that across a lot of news articles as well, when they're saying everyone's underpaid. Maybe only 5% of the most disgruntled people are responding to these surveys. So there is strike action, but there's not really strike action. And in all fairness, as contractors over here, strikes aren't going to work for contractors. It's the same as over there, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like there's definitely some similarities. So let me get it with Parker here. When you hear 1 in 3 drivers would strike for higher pay, what is that? What do you think about when you hear that?
I think it was probably 10 minutes ago or so, you said, man, if only we had data. And that's really the underlying thing for like any discussion, I think, on your channel, acceptance rate, diamond zones, anything you talk about, if only we had data. But similarly with this report, we have to rely on subjective information, testimonies from people, and obviously lower quality of information can be tainted by bias and those kinds of things. I do think the thing that came to my mind whenever I hear this is actually DoorDash's marketing strategy. I think it's very interesting. A lot of podcasts I listen to, the people promote things like, oh, help your local DoorDasher out by ordering from this local place. You're putting money into this person's pocket directly, and you're giving back to the community in that kind of sense. But it's kind of the opposite whenever you consider our perspectives, right? Whenever DoorDash hears strikes, that's the opposite of what the company hears. They, I think, try to take a lot of measures in order to prohibit Dashers from communicating with each other, because then these kinds of issues arise. That's the first thing that came to my mind. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that's that makes sense. And I think for me, we're talking about studies, and Chris kind of mentioned it as well in Australia, like how much of a pool are they actually getting this information from? You know what I mean? Like, and what does that mean? Is it disgruntled? Are they happy? Are they not? Do they go to a local park in a parking lot and just say, hey, we want to ask you some questions, and they throw a study out? You know, it's hard to always have real confidence when we're getting information. And that could be from the information we get from DoorDash or from a third party people that are doing a study. You never really, it's hard to know the truth, because all we can know is our reality and our perspective, and maybe a handful of ideas and conversations we have from local Dashers, right? But that doesn't mean that that's even the general broad truth, because I think a lot of us have this, we come to this work and we have a very different perspective. I know Parker's worked the apps in a very different way than I have, right? Nova Dasher works them in a very different way than most of us. The Matrix might work them a little different, right? So anytime I think we get this information and we see percentages, it's tough to know, like, where is the real truth or value within that information? Because this kind of work is so, like, it's very subjective, I think. But Parker, let me ask you this. Do you, what are some of the things from when you started doing it, you put yourself through school and all that, right, to now? Like, have you seen anything shift or change from your perspective with the gig economy?
I will agree with you this week. So just to give people context, I'm in my last year of pharmacy school. I do this very part-time. For me, like, the maximum is probably like $500 a week. Typically, I'm in that like 100 to 300 range, just to fill in the gaps. This week, I've definitely seen more new people in St. Louis. I can agree with you 100%
there you go.
on that. I've seen wide-eyed new Dashers in that. And I'd have to definitely, there's been just, the ups and downs of like things like acceptance rate and diamond zones and that kind of thing, and how that has affected my personal income on it. And this is actually, I come from a clinical research background. I'm a big data guy. I love Excel more than most people probably healthily should. But I've wondered if there's ever been any attempt to, like, it's hard to set up like these public domain databases and that kind of thing where people can enter, their mileage, acceptance rate, that kind of thing, et cetera. I mean, it's not a hard thing to set up. It's something that I've considered. I don't know if anyone in your channel has ever like thought of proposing something like that before.
I've heard some people mention something similar. Obviously, there are companies and individuals that have developed apps that can obviously track this data that we input, whether it is mileage, and they obviously have access to the earnings if you link your accounts and how often you do it. So I think there's a lot of data out there, but I believe, and I'm not saying this is true, but I believe that there are certain companies, it could be like a Solo, a Para, a Gridwise, a Everlance, a Moves, or all these companies, right? If we took the information they have, the information we give them, right? And if we were able to put that next to like the DoorDash analytics and what they know about us, I wonder what that would look like. Would it be similar? Would it be different? You know what I mean? And it'd be interesting to look at that like on a city to city basis, and then even all the United States or globally, and to include Australia and other places. Because I think numbers don't lie. I could come on here and Parker and Chris and Nova and all these, anybody else and DoorDash, like, people can lie. Numbers don't. Right. And as long as we know that they were coming from like a trusted source, which is still hard to think of, but the numbers would be interesting. So I'm with you on that. It'd be nice to get some actual numbers and kind of like see what I think the story would be told a lot. It'd be told clearer if we had that kind of information,
Absolutely.
The Matrix. What do you say, man? Oh, go ahead, Parker.
One last thing. I think one thing with the, to like 479% increased searches for gig work or something along those lines. Definitely one thing to consider is no matter what the percentage is, the demand for food delivery has definitely went up within, someone who's been working 5 years or so. It's definitely increased since then. But have the wages Dashers have been receiving, they definitely, I would say, they have not combated things like inflation and increased cost of living. I think there's
and a lot of companies don't. A lot of companies don't.
No,
You know, some do,
no.
but a lot don't. Let me read this comment from Dad Dash before I get to Matrix. He says, and all the strike would do is make it a better day for the Dashers choosing to work out. I think we've seen that in certain areas. There's been some strikes, especially with rideshare, and the numbers come out and like, oh, I usually make 200, and that day when I struck, I made 350. Like, yeah. So, you know, there's going to be drivers that are going to take advantage of that and say, I'm going to go out there and make money because there's less fishermen in my lake that day, right? So I totally get that.
Scabs.
Matrix, what do you got on your mind about these topics?
I think the original question is kind of goofy because to strike suggests that there's some sort of union. There is no union. We're not part of a union. We're all on our own, butting up against each other out there trying to scratch out a living. Without a union, there's really no strike. I mean, I guess all of us individually could like get together and like text each other and say, hey, let's not go out today. And then let, you know, Tony at DoorDash know, hey, we're staying home today. I don't know, man. I think the 33% is probably didn't necessarily understand the question. Like, I would totally strike. Well, we can't in reality strike. There is no union. There is no, we don't work for anybody. We're not, it's just not possible. It's kind of a hypothetical question, but I don't know that it could ever happen unless we all literally got together personally and said, let's just not go out on Monday. And then,
well, let me ask you this, Matrix. Let me ask you this. It could also have been because you mentioned, well, maybe they misunderstood the question or, you know, whatever. Would you personally, and you guys in the chat can also answer this in the chat, right? Would you personally strike for 1 week, not work for 1 week, don't get paid for 1 week, no earnings at all? If the possibility of increased earnings for you and your fellow Dashers or gig economy workers in your market would go up, would you strike? Would you be willing to strike if you felt like it would make a difference?
I mean, maybe that's kind of a hard thing to answer because we would never really know the answer. My thought would be that DoorDash would just open the floodgates even more for new drivers. Like, let's just replace all these guys. Hey, we have a new referral program. Complete your first 10 deliveries and we'll give you $60. And they may take on a bunch of new drivers, scabs, as I kind of jokingly started this, to kind of fill the void. I mean, if you could guarantee me, I mean, I probably would, but it would be such a up in the air question that I'm not sure I would be able to do it for a week unless I could have a guarantee, which in reality that I couldn't be guaranteed that, you know?
Right. You're still rolling the dice. Because if I told you guys, you know, hey, you're not going to work for a week. We're going to go on strike. And, you know, they're not going to be able to fulfill all the orders. They're going to see an impact in business. And they're going to say, you know what? Okay, guys, listen, we're going to up your pay 15%. Every week you're going to earn 15% more. I think a lot of people would, if you did the math, you're going to come out on the higher end in just a few months, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
there's no guarantee with that. So
yeah, it's a hypothetical question across the board, but yeah, if they were going to raise the pay, but that stuff works more with like the post office system or, you know, King Soopers workers or Kroger's workers or grocery store workers that are all unionized. That stuff works a lot more when they take a major stand that, you know, the corporation has to say, okay, we've got to do something here. They're serious. They're not working. We're losing sales. So let's, you know, meet their demands or agree to their demands. But in terms of a bunch of independent contractors striking, that's not a feasible situation. It's just hard to imagine that would happen. Could you imagine just, I guess, a bunch of construction companies just all of a sudden saying, we're not building houses for 2 weeks. You, construction company A and B and Z and Y, we're all just going to not build houses for a month so that, you know, prices of lumber comes down. It just doesn't really work that way. We're independent contractors. We're out there on our own. We're not part of a collective union that is looking for something better. We're all just kind of out there trying to eat what we kill, you know?
Do you think clearly, at least in my opinion, from having a little bit of information on the history of strikes and just knowing some things that most of us already know, it's common knowledge. Some strikes clearly have worked in certain sectors, right? Especially back, if you go on 50, 60 years ago, maybe even some of the teachers, but even the teachers are underpaid and undervalued by most means. But would you say you're complete, like no striking at all, or is it just because we're 1099?
Yeah, we're independent contractors. I mean, teachers are part of a union. I think mostly across the board, they work for the city or state or county or whatever. They're employees. They're not 1099. You know, teachers can strike, postal workers can strike. You know, even if all Domino's pizza delivery drivers, I don't know if they're part of a union, but if they just all wanted to strike because they're part of a company, they're a W-2 employee. I think that makes a lot more sense. I think the question posed, in this Forbes article, it's not reality. Independent contractors striking is just not. It's not a real thing that could happen unless we just all got together, like on your show, and we just said, "Okay, everybody in St. Louis, we're going to strike from. Who's with me?" And you're just kind of risking it. You just kind of. Well, I hope Pedro doesn't go out on the Monday. I hope Parker doesn't go out on the Tuesday, or Chris goes out. Like, I hope they don't. But they could, because they're independent contractors. So,
well, I will say this. While I agree with what you're saying, I do think we have seen strikes happen. So for me, it's not about our strikes happening in the gig economy, because they are. We're seeing out in certain parts of LA, we're seeing rideshare drivers get together and go to a airport or go somewhere at an event, and we see that they have signs, they're picketing, they're saying we want better wages, we're unsafe, we want safer work environment. So that to me is a strike. It's just, does it have an impact?
But California is different because they have that issue. What is it? I'm forgetting it.
They have Prop 22.
Prop 22. So they're a little bit more connected than the rest of us because they get paid by the state a certain amount. So they're a little bit closer, even though they're 1099. So I could actually see it happening more in a Prop 20, like where they're getting a certain amount of payment from the state, because then they can go out and strike almost against the state. Hey, pay us more. That makes a little bit more sense. But for the rest of the country that doesn't have that prop, it doesn't make as much sense. So if you're seeing the strikes in the gig economy, it would make way more sense if it was a prop state rather than not.
Before I jump in for 2 seconds, Pedro?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, so striking, that's the foundations of unionization. So that's people getting together saying we're going on strike. And I guess a key question that kicks off at that point, if you're a contractor or 1099, I think you guys call it over there, when you get a collective group together, who sets the rates? Who sets the purpose of the strike? And at that point, you're just going down a union pathway. So, who's happy with 15% raise? Who's happy for 25% raise? You're going to find a variance straight away. So you're going to need key leaders within that strike movement to start to set it down. And before you know it, you're on pathway for a union.
Right. And who's the foreman? Who's this?
Exactly.
Who gets elected? Like Chris makes a perfect point. Who's the foreman? Who's the sub foreman? Who determines what the amount is? Like you said, 15%, 20%, 22%, 27%. That it's just a mess that right now, the way this is structured, to Chris's point, I just don't think it can happen realistically.
Mm-hmm. I think Nova. I would say Nova would be somebody. He'd just be the president out of Virginia. And Chris will be our international guy. The Matrix would be the hands-on guy. The facilitator of it all. Me and Parker would just stand by and just make more money. That's
vote for Pedro.
Yeah. So let me get Judge in on the conversation. So Judge, let me ask you a question. First, how long have you been in the gig economy? And second, what do you think about when you hear drivers talking about striking in the gig economy? Go ahead.
Okay. How long have I been in the gig economy? I've been doing it for about 1.5 years, almost 2 maybe. Do I feel the striking and stuff will work in the gig economy? No. I said, because you're going up against a company that has been caught stealing. They manipulate the hell out of people, and they're liars. Those are 3 things right there that you got to watch out with scam artists that do. Talking as a former scam artist who cleaned up his act 20 years ago.
Oh,
I was a master.
That's a juicy line you just dropped on us here.
But I'll just give an example. 20 years ago, I stopped. No, it was about 25 years ago. Just give an example. The best scammers and the best ones are the ones who are never caught. I was never caught. The only reason that stopped me is because I had a kid on the way and I didn't want to tell my son that I used to be a thief. That's the main reason why I stopped. So then after that, I went to another company and I used my power for good. and I used to always find the thieves and all like that. And they'd be like, Judge, how can you walk in and within 15 minutes, which people it is? I said, because I remember they asked me that after about 7 years in. And I told them, because I used to be one. And then they would say, what? They're like, you don't have anything on your record. I said, because the good ones are never caught. I said, if you're smart enough, you won't get caught. And I mean, I'm that good. I mean, I've been around this space. I'm not around this sector, but I'm known on YouTube. So, people have seen, and one of the things I've never been caught in is a lie. That's why they call me judge. I have no problem judging people and judging things, and I have no problem with people judging me. That's why the name was given to me. But it won't work with this company, because this company, you've already known they've gotten caught stealing. They were stealing from drivers in the beginning. We know that already. They manipulate the hell out of you. And people say, well, how would you know that this company manipulates you, Judge? They manipulate you because you see it. Every dasher's been manipulated. You're the best dasher for this job. Motherfucker, what? I mean, no offense. If you were a female and you came to my house and I said, but you're the best female for this job tonight, and she did something with me, that would be considered manipulation, and I would go to jail.
Sure, because you know it not to be true. That's what you're saying.
Right. But you understand, right? That's it. That's exactly what this company does.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, and I want to go. I want everybody else to kind of answer it, and then we'll get back to Judge.
No problem.
Do you think DoorDash is still stealing tips in some way?
Yes, and I have proof of that too.
Okay, let me go to Matrix. Matrix, do you think DoorDash is stealing tips or manipulating tips? Okay, what about you, Parker? What about you?
I think there's too many things in the way to get a clear answer to that. I'm gonna go with I don't know, possibly.
Chris, what about you?
I'm just going to say it would be nice to get tips in the first place.
Fair. I forgot. Great answer.
Different perspective from Chris.
How about you, Nova? Do you think DoorDash is stealing tips or manipulating tips?
I don't think so. I think maybe in those orders where like the merchant dispatches to DoorDash, I think maybe the merchant will sometimes could keep the tip. But I think from DoorDash themselves, I don't think so.
Okay, I have proof of the merchant. Actually, they do steal the tips. Just give an example. I'll give you even a location in a store that does it.
That's the merchant, though. Wait, clean this up.
Okay, that is a merchant. But wait.
Hold on, I gotta say this: that in the contract that DoorDash has as a third-party delivery system with the merchants, DoorDash has openly admitted that they allow the merchant to do with that tip how they see fit.
Right.
So we have to say that because that's not stealing on DoorDash's end. That's different. So Panera
on the merchants,
red companies doing it. But go ahead, Judge.
Right.
Share
like what you should do is this. I'm not even going to lie. Like one of the things I'm coming out, and when I start making the content, you see, because we got plenty of this. I got 5 other dashers that are helping me, and they are like my wings. They chose me to be the face because they don't want to get involved, and they're worried about the backlash that's going to come. Because I'm not going to lie, I hit hard. And I'm not one of those ones where I'm not worried about the backlash. I have another business that makes my money. This company is a bully, and I hate to say I love fighting bullies. There's something about that, it's like that. So I'm gonna just go ahead, and by the time I'm done, you're gonna hate me in the beginning, but I'm gonna make it better for either the company's going out of business or they're gonna change their ways tremendously, because I'm going to highlight so many things that we have found out in the last month and a half of activity. Like we see, the Diamond Rewards program is a complete scam.
Ooh, I would have.
And I got proof of that.
Judge, I would have to completely disagree with you on that.
Oh, okay, and I'll tell you why. I'm not gonna lie. I had said this. I knew you were a YouTuber. I've always watched you, and I watched you for years. Yeah. Just give an example. I've already done 2 of my constituents are already mad at me for what I did today because I was not supposed to show my face. I said, so see, the reason why, and unfortunately like this, the reason why dashers who are sitting back listening to this can't trust you, can't trust DoorDash Diaries, can't trust none of these other content creators. Because you know why? And it's not nothing that you did or not that you're on the payroll, but it's because you've shown your face. And what the DoorDash, what they have done is, Pedro's a good person right here. Let me make sure that this dude gets special treatment on orders to make sure that he makes good content.
Let me tell you.
I got proof. Wait, listen, I got you. I got another Dasher. He's got 400 orders in. Just started new account. 99%. 99% on time rating. 4.99 customer rating. 99 completion rate. Somebody's yeah.
I got it.
99% completion rate.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting shitty ass orders in like that, with that. And I mean, they just kept blowing him up. And you would think 4.99, 99% completion rate, and you're getting crappy orders.
Well, let me tell you this.
Where you'd be like, why in the world this? And I was making more money than him.
Yeah, let me tell you this. I have probably, if I would say, out of the content creators on YouTube, and YouTube, you know, this little community we have is actually pretty small in the grand scheme of things on YouTube. You know, I would say I probably have, if not the most, the top 3 negative videos on DoorDash over against anybody else. I've made a lot of. I have a lot of negative content about DoorDash, what they do, my opinions, my thoughts. Just recently, it's become a little more positive, but I still throw DoorDash under the bus if I feel they do something wrong more than anybody. So, if anything,
I understand that. I understand that, Pedro.
They wouldn't be feeding me. They wouldn't look at my channel as like a gateway of, you know, drivers should watch this guy. No, because if anything, I teach people how to do it the right way. I don't
Pedro.
You know what I'm saying?
Pedro, I've been listening to you for a while, but here's a question: how many people have you stolen from?
What do you mean stolen? Like,
how many people have you scammed? How much money have you stolen?
$0.
The hell's going on?
Thank you. Yeah, listen. Wait. I'm gonna tell you why. And it's not because it's not you. I'm saying me. I did that. The best way that any company that is gonna take advantage of a group of people is to have people like, you know, I would say, oh, I'd get somebody like Pedro. I know he makes content. He says some bad things about my company. But if I feed him good orders and he can say some good things, this dude used to be totally bad. That's better publicity and better than any other commercial you can run.
So you think, hold on, Judge. Hold on for a second. Let me take control of this combo real quick.
Go ahead.
So what you're saying is, and anybody else, you guys could chime in as well. What you're saying is, because I've heard it from a few other people. What you're saying is DoorDash looks at my channel and says, we're going to feed him through the algorithm better orders than the average driver so that he can give us good PR. Just say yes or no to that. Is that yes?
Yes, that's what the whole thing is.
Okay, so what? So why would they still send me some ones that are really bad? Why wouldn't they just send me?
Because otherwise it would be too obvious. I mean, maybe like I told you. I told you I ran scams. I stole a lot of money, and the best way that you want to sit here and say is that, like I said, the best ones are the people who aren't found. And the best way is like one reason. Wait, I'll tell you. I'll give you an perfect example. One reason why they start scanning all the drivers' faces. I said because what that computerized does, once they got you scanned your face scan like that is, they can look around and they can find you on the internet. So that way, if you come out and you make a channel against this company, that's why the other 4 people who work with me. And when I say we work together like this, when we start to dash, we get on the phone, call the other person. That other person calls that person on 3-way. That other person calls that person on 3. So whoever's dashing, we're always on the phone with other dashers. One, for our protection, because I've been robbed dashing before. I don't know if you guys, but I've been robbed. I done got shot at. All this crap. Hold
on. Stop. You've been shot at and you're still doing this work? What's wrong?
I've been shot at because I'm not gonna lie.
Why would you still do this if you've been shot at?
I wasn't shot at. Okay, listen. I've been shot at not from a customer. I was shot at by someone was murdered next to me at a store while we were dashing.
That's different. Let me hold on. I want to get Chris.
There was an innocent dasher. There was a dasher that got hit in that conflict. But
hold on, Judge. So, Chris, do you guys have in Australia this, you know, because some would say, because they're saying in the chat, the judge is like conspiracy theorist, a tinfoil hat. Like, Chris, what do you say? What do you say to some of the things that he's saying that DoorDash is feeding me good orders? What do you say to that?
Well, I get trash orders just like every other dasher. And sure, like as a content creator, I'm not going to sit there and make a video for 20 minutes straight being like, oh, I got this trash order. I got this trash order. I got it. It's not watchable content. So, of course, I'm going to show good ones. It excites people up for it. But, you know, I have not taken a $5.50 order, which is the new floor they've set. I've done videos saying, like, this is trash. I'm in the DoorDash Australia groups. I say, don't accept these orders. These are crap. They're testing if we take them. So I get the trash orders just like every other driver does, and I vocally go against it. Sure.
Okay.
Probably 80% of my content's positive towards DoorDash. 20% gets a little bit negative here and there. But I definitely, same as Pedro, I call out when I see bullshit and I'll do a video on it.
Well, see, I just want to tell you this too. Like you said, $5.50 order. In my neck of the woods, you can get $1.75, $2 all day.
You can't get
I guess factor for inflation.
Inflation. Oh, wait a minute. Here, let me see.
DoorDash doesn't send out $1.75.
Yes, they do.
Can you show them?
I don't know where you live. Matter of fact, I think I have them on my phone. This is what I'm going to do too. When I get off of this conversation today, Pedro, I'm going to give you my personal phone number.
No, I want to see it. No, hold on, stop. I want to see $1.75 right now on the screen. I'll give you $100.
Yeah,
it's on the DoorDash on the phone that I'm on now.
Let's see it right now. Come on, $1.75.
It's on the phone that I'm using to be on the link.
Okay, I've never seen $1.75.
Yeah, I'm in the northeast. I'm in the northeast Ohio area, Cleveland. Cleveland suburbs. I live in the Cleveland suburbs.
I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
Well, hopefully somebody in the chat say. I'm pretty sure if anybody's in the northeast Ohio, there are plenty of $1.75, $2 orders. There are plenty of them.
So let me ask Parker. Parker, do you think DoorDash is feeding me good orders because I make YouTube videos? What's your thoughts on that? What do you think?
No, I mean, I don't know the complexity of how hard it is to single out a person and like individually cater to them and that kind of thing right now.
That would have to be some crazy algorithm, right? Yeah.
Right. And no offense to Judge, but I'm just very skeptical when someone says like objective data. Again, I think that none of us can provide proof of anything.
Okay.
Again, it relies back on testimonies, which are still valid. But
well, I just want to say this, sir.
Go ahead.
No, I said I want to say this, sir. I'm just going to show you, one of the things we've seen, and this is the reason why I got working with my friend he's going to try to learn the editing so we can edit this. One of the things we've seen with the Diamond Road program, it'll give you 3 bad orders. Now, this is in less than 1 minute. So you notice these orders were all in the queue. And as soon as you don't accept it, immediately, boom, another order come in. Don't accept that. Boom, another one come in. Don't accept that. Now, this is a person with this account at the time had 86% acceptance rate. So you're in the top tier already. And I'll just give an example. Like I made that comment on your thing the other day. I had like 76 by that morning. By the end of the day, I was down to 50 because they blew me up with that many $2, 5, 7 mile orders. And it's like, there's no way in the world that you can even break even on a $2 order for 7 miles.
Yeah. Same thing happened to me. My percentage dropped 30% in 4 days.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is this. And I love how people want to say, I'm not a tinfoil hat person. Like I said, I've been around YouTube for 10 plus years. I'm not known in this sector as the dasher sector, but people who know me in the other sectors know that one of the things I go on, I have never been caught in a lie. That's one of my cardinal rules. No stealing, no lying. Those are the 2 rules I came and I changed when I stopped stealing. No stealing and don't lie. Because a man is not worth nothing if he's a thief or a liar.
I hear you. Listen, the conversation's gone a little left, but I'm okay with that because I like organically we have different combos. I would love for you, Dre, or Judge, I would love for you to hop off the live and give me the 175 screenshots. I'll give you 5 minutes. I can bring you back up on the screen. I would love to see.
I'm pretty sure I got one on this phone. Hold on a second.
I'm gonna exit you. And then you come back in at 5, and then I want to see 175. I've never seen $1.75 on DoorDash. I want to make a video.
I got one.
So come back.
Let's see.
I'll show you guys those. Sound good?
All right, I'm looking now.
All right. $1.75. I've never seen it. It's crazy. Okay. So Scola says Dre does have a point. They could definitely send a big YouTuber like Pedro good orders. Man, I wish. Listen, y'all. I would love for DoorDash. Let me be selfish for a minute. I would love for DoorDash to send me really good orders all the time. Now, do I feel like there are times it feeds me good ones because my acceptance rate has been a little higher? I definitely do believe that to be true sometimes. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. If I went out tomorrow and every order was $10, I'd make a video and I'd be so happy. I'd be grinning ear to ear. I'd be like, oh my God, guys, I don't know what's going on. And I'd make a video about that. But I don't think the DoorDash is looking at me saying, we got to feed this guy orders so that the content is more favorable. I just don't believe it. I don't know. I think
that's kind of the problem with conspiracy theorists, Pedro, is they don't actually think about the amount of work that it would take to do the thing that they're saying is a conspiracy theory. There's millions and millions and millions of dashers. So they have a secret department somewhere in a back corner that is catering to YouTube content providers. Hey, here's Pedro over here. We're going to dedicate a whole department to change the algorithm and send Pedro the good. It's ridiculous.
I wish. Listen, I would love to make more money, but I don't.
I mean, I create content.
But it wouldn't actually be that hard for them to change that, my friend. It really wouldn't. They could just give him, increase it by 10%. There's a lot of things they can do to manipulate it. Just look what they do with new drivers.
There's the Top Dasher program. If you follow that program, it's been said by DoorDash that you will receive better offers. It's kind of that Plinko system where it goes into the system. The best available driver with the best stats might get the good order first, and it kind of drops down the Plinko system. We talked about this for months now, but I mean, just the idea. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with the idea that if you badmouth a company on YouTube, DoorDash or not, but you just constantly slamming a company or you're saying they're stealing money, that DoorDash might deactivate you based on bad public comments, but giving you better access to orders.
Let me tell you guys something. So I've been trying to get onto LOP for 4 months. I just somebody sent me a link to get on the waiting list. I've called support. So if DoorDash is special feeding me orders, don't you think they want me to be on the large order program when all my metrics match? Because then I'd be able to show you guys $30, $40, $50 orders consistently. So I think we have to also, that's a fact. Like, wouldn't I be on the large order program? Wouldn't they cater my account and give me those big, nice catering orders? I'd show them every day because I make a video every day. So logically, for anybody to think that they're feeding my account, it doesn't make any logical sense because I've actually called DoorDash probably 12 times in the last 4 months, and I'm still not on the program.
Don't you think they'd prioritize you? I've been trying to get on the LOP. I've been a Top Dasher, and what I've been told by support is the large order program in my market is full. And as soon as a spot becomes available, if I'm a Top Dasher at the time, I'll be considered for it. So it may be the same thing in St. Louis. It's just full. But great point by you. If they're shilling, there's all this shilling going on.
I should be on the large order program.
Wouldn't they give you everything you want, Pedro, since you talk nice about them? I mean, I'm just so sick of that conspiracy.
I want them to give me all that stuff. I'm greedy. I want to make more money. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to not, I'm just organically going to show you guys what I get. But Chris, in Australia, do you guys have some kind of catering option with DoorDash? Do you see those? How does that work over there?
You guys are so far in advance on that kind of stuff. We have no catering programs. We have no pizza programs. Essentially, even our Top Dasher program, like these diamond programs that you guys are talking about, we don't have that. So we have Top Dasher, and that has Dash Anytime as the only perk for it. But now, because we've got an open schedule, Top Dash is irrelevant. You can log in anytime you want anyway. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
So you guys are so new to it, right? It's like they're almost still just testing out how you market and how you guys like to work, what you value, so it's still in infancy, it seems like.
So a lot of A/B testing they're doing with this, so that they're open schedules and stuff like that. Because we don't have tips coming in. From what I've seen, a lot 50% of what you guys are pulling in is from tips. We don't have that, and Australians just we do tip sometimes, but it's just not common over here. And the concept
how do you get a different amount then for an offer? Why does it change?
It's on distance. So we have a base of, call it, depending on your area, maybe it's $2 or maybe it's $4, whatever it might be, or whatever they're testing on the day or the given week. And then a payment per kilometer as well. The lowest they offer us on a standard order is $5.50. The most is $25. And then so if you get like an 80-kilometer order, you shouldn't accept that, but you'll be capped at $25. You cannot get any more for that.
Wow,
That's kind of the same way with DoorDash. If you guys have done AutoZone orders, I've been doing a lot of those lately where you go pick up like some brake pads or whatever and you deliver it to like a Brakes Plus. It's all base pay. There's no tip on there. Brakes Plus isn't tipping. AutoZone isn't tipping. It's a flat rate. And like he said, kilometers. Here it's miles, but it's just simply based on the distance, and it goes up or down based on the miles.
How much does one of those pay?
Usually $9.50 for 5 miles.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad. I've
done a couple. I've done a couple. They're not that bad. There's not tips on them, but that's but you know what you're delivering. For me, if the mileage is okay, I have like no problem doing that.
And the order's always ready. It's always on the counter, 100%. You're not waiting for something to be cooked or the fryer's down or the milkshake machine's broken. It's just right there on the counter, bang, in and out. I actually kind of like it. It's just like it's a 5 mile order. We're going to give you $9.50. Like, to me, that's fair all day long. Like, hey, Chris, are you in more of a rural zone or are you at like a downtown metro area?
I'm on the Sunshine Coast in Australia, so it's kind of like a beachy bunch of suburbs all put together. About an hour outside of Brisbane, which is one of the capital cities. So it goes from high density, kind of high rise buildings out to rural within a 5-minute space.
So a big zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Large zones. Like you can drive for 45 minutes across from one end of a zone to another in one of the larger zones I dash in.
Wow.
Interesting.
So do you like it per mile then? Does it make sense for you profit wise?
It does. But the cadence to it, I guess, is the zones and going out of zone. So if you go too far out of zone, you got a long drive back in before you can get another offer again. And then you're just praying you're in the right area to be even close enough to a store or a business that can give you an order. Because if you're right on the boundary, right on the edge, you just don't get anything. If you're out of zone, it says looking for orders coming in. I've tested it here, and it just doesn't work.
Gotcha.
Interesting. I want to ask Parker real quick, and then I'll get to JP. I just want to ask just as a point of reference, Parker, what's your current acceptance rate in St. Louis?
I think like 52%. Let me check.
That's exactly what mine is right now, actually.
Really?
The Matrix, what's yours?
Say again.
What's your acceptance rate, the Matrix?
As of the end of today, 14%.
So pretty low. Chris, what in Australia? Obviously, the way you're working the app's going to be different. But what's your AR right now?
Yeah, 66% right now, and that's I feel that's a bit lower than the average Australian. But the guys in the middle of cities, they drop down to like 10%.
Yeah. JP, what about you? What's your acceptance rate?
Mine's the highest it's been in a month, and it's at 22%.
Oh, interesting. What happened this month to make it?
I don't have a clue as to why, but I've been getting, because it was down to about 8 to 10% for the last 10 days. Yeah. And I just started getting good order after good order after good order. I mean, and I'm shooting for $2 a mile. I'm not shooting for big numbers. And, I'll do an order that's as low as $6 if it's for a couple miles. But
sure. So in the States here, me and Parker have the highest acceptance rates between JP and the Matrix, and we're both in the same market. I'm not surprised by that, but it's interesting. JP, I think you wanted to add something to the convo before I asked about acceptance rate. Go ahead.
I had a question for Chris on what the average wage is there in Australia, because that's really what I look at, is more how much I earn per hour.
It's a really, really good point to raise, because we're seeing so much different. Like, each market is performing differently for it. We've got guys earning $40 an hour in certain areas. We've got guys earning $20 an hour below minimum wage in other areas. And it's hard to kind of drill down that to the respect of when are they working. Like, if people are working, 2:00 on a Wednesday afternoon, when no one's ordering food, lunch is done, it's not a busy time, and they're factoring that in because that's their normal working hours and it's dragging averages down. It's like, yeah, sure, okay, you're earning lower than other people because of that. So it's not a set wage or anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of varying between 20 to 40. Highest I've earned on DoorDash per hour is about $45 an hour, which probably about $35 American.
Yeah, I mean, I don't make anywhere near that kind of number with DoorDash. I look to make $30 to $35 an hour with all the apps that I work, but DoorDash is just a filler app for me. $150, $200 is about all I'm making in a week on DoorDash, but I'm making 1,800 on other apps. So and that's what I think is the problem, is that DoorDash is looking for just people that want to work 5 and 6 hours a week on the app. My active time is only probably, I don't know, 2 hours this week or 3 hours. And
well, JP, there's room for you on DoorDash because you're filling orders. You're actually, you're giving, you know what I'm saying? You're part of that machine. Now you might be a part of a smaller cog, right? But you still, DoorDash still needs you, right? So for me, it's like, do me and Parker maybe on certain weeks, or the Matrix take more deliveries on DoorDash? Sure. But like, you're still filling in the gaps of when we might be on a delivery and you need to be, helping that marketplace deliver, facilitated delivery. There's value in that. And I think DoorDash knows that really well, that there's going to be drivers with 10% AR, drivers with 52, 66, 95. Red says her in the chat a minute ago, her acceptance rate's 95. So I think they know they need a balance, because I think if everybody's acceptance rate was 100%, it would be a shit show. It just would. Like, there wouldn't be enough money. Like, it would make drivers not happy, right? If everybody was at 100, maybe I'm wrong, but that's my opinion. And also, if everybody was at 10%, DoorDash would be pissed off. They wouldn't be able to fulfill enough orders. Customers would get food late. So I think they understand, and I think we as drivers also know, or at least have to understand, there has to be people with different acceptance rate levels. There has to be drivers working 80 hours, 60, some working 5 hours a week, right? There has to be that balance in order for people to kind of use it how they want. And I think DoorDash knows that. And I think they actually do a really good job of, some might call it manipulating that system, right? But I think they know it. And I think that they just, because we don't have to schedule, right? Especially on Uber, because we don't have to schedule, they know that. So they know that they have to just kind of feed us all what we are willing to take in those moments. So I don't know.
Pedro, something I forgot to mention before that I think is happening real quick with DoorDash in particular is that they're building their algorithm based on good interactions with customers, whether it be maybe a 5 rating. I find myself, now that I've gotten into this, I'm delivering to the same customers over and over and over every single day. Stop and Pay, I got a guy I deliver to 5 to 6 times a week. He tips $6 every single time. And even if I'm 5 miles away from the grocery store or 2 miles away, they send me the order. And I get it. And I'm like, that's my man, Ted, or whatever. I do the same shop and pays for the exact same customer. This one, Ashley, I deliver to her 6 times a week. It hits my phone every single time. And I'm just starting to notice that almost every delivery I accept, I've delivered to them before. It's like the customer, like if you had a good interaction or a good experience with your driver, maybe a 5-star rating is what I would think. They start to lock onto you like, okay, this person has placed an order. Is the Matrix online? We're going to send it to him first.
I think there could be something to that. I think
that is part of the algorithm. I mean, that is factored in there. I only, like I say, maybe 5-6 hours a week, and that's total time. And I'm doing other apps at that time, so my active time is more like 3 hours or 4 hours, and I get the same customers at least throughout the week. I'll have at least 4 or 5 of the customers I deliver to be the same that I've done, 50 other times. So
is that DoorDash or other other apps?
That's in DoorDash. And other apps, it's a lot higher than that. But I do a lot of shopping apps now, and I do a lot of catering apps, and it's the same thing with the catering and shopping. If you get a good rating from them, they're going to send it to you first because they want,
regardless of your acceptance rate or top dasher status.
Correct.
Right?
They don't care about any of that. They want you to have it because they know that the customer is happy. That's about the only part of the customer rating they care about. They don't care about yours. Mine's been a 5.0 for, I don't know, it's been over a year. But I don't, like I said, I don't do a lot of the actual DoorDash, but it's the same on the other apps that I do. And but I can tell you they do. There are 3 restaurants in the catering app that I work most frequently that actually have written in to deliver that and said, please send these to him first. And that's a wonderful way to get to know that you're going to get $30 to $40 for every offer.
Well, I think it makes sense that DoorDash would do that, but I also think, and I'm in agreement with that. I think there could be some truth there, and you guys, chime in at any moment. But I also think, at least for me, when I work, I'm out very similar times of the day, most of the same days of the week. And I think when our consumers order, the ones that order often are ordering the same times of the day, same times of the week. We're mostly working in the same zone. So Parker knows if I'm in Webster Groves, and I've seen him in Webster Groves, Parker's delivered to me, right? So if I'm out on a Monday at noon and Parker orders at 12:15 a lot, and I've delivered him a couple times, it's not too much of a coincidence that I might see his order because I'm in that area. So I think it's also a mixture of that. The times that you dash, the area that you dash, it's not going to be uncommon to see the same consumer. It happens to me for sure. And I think it could also obviously also be a rating thing. They gave you 5 stars. They tipped you well. You gave them a good rating or a thumbs up or whatever, a smiley face in the app like they used to. I think it's smart on their end to pair those consumers with drivers that had a favorable experience on both ends, because that the likelihood of it being favorable again is skyrocketed, right? Versus giving it to Parker, or maybe he's never delivered to Luis down the street, but I have 10 times. Of course I should take that order because he knows me, I know him. You know what I mean?
But that's a good part of DoorDash that Uber Eats does not participate in at all. Uber Eats is all over the map. They'll send you shit from the edge of one city to the edge of the other city. And if they could fix their algorithm, Uber would be so much better, but they're terrible with GPS location.
It sends you all over the place. Here, I want to welcome a guest in real quick. We got Vic the Kid in here. How you doing, man?
Yo, what up?
I know you're just sitting there listening. I want to at least recognize you as you came on the show. So,
hey, listening and learning.
Yeah, no, we're talking about we talked about some strikes earlier. 33% of drivers in a particular study said that they would strike for better pay, and then now we're just kind of talking about random, just things that we do. So, yeah.
One of the reasons I wanted to come in here, Pedro, was to address just that. There's one thing that everybody could do that would not, because a strike, unfortunately, we haven't had a strike, and I don't know that we'll ever have a strike. Because a strike actually means you stop working until they change and come to terms with you, at least come to the table and negotiate. And I don't see anyone in the gig economy until the government forces them to, which I hope at some point in the future they do. And I'm not one for regulation. I've been a Republican almost all my life. And,
so I'm surprised to hear you say that, actually.
But I want regulation, and I want a lot more regulation.
Oh man, I couldn't listen. I love you, JP. I could not disagree with you more, and I know you know that, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Listen, I'd be happy to debate that at any time in the future.
Oh no, because
there are good things. There are good things that come from it. However, what I was going to say is one thing everybody could do right now that would be a good work slowdown. It's not going to be a strike, but a good work slowdown is let the timer on DoorDash. If you're going to reject it, let it run its time. Let it get down to 5 or 6 seconds. Most people, and I can tell you that I've always told people that I talk to, if you're going to reject it right away so you get the next one right away, right? Well,
absolutely. Yeah.
If you really want to make something happen with the DoorDash system and get their attention, is have a few days where you get everyone you can find to let it run its time. That will, and this is coming from people that were engineers at DoorDash, that would cripple their system.
So explain to us, actually will. In a minute or two, explain to us, because most of the offers that come in, it's like what? 30 seconds, 35, 40. Right. If it's a stack already, sometimes it's like it gives you 70 seconds if you already have an order, right? Explain to me what that, we'll call it 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds. Explain to me what that does to the algorithm or whatever.
Well, what the system is doing is sending that offer. Once you hit decline, it's sending it out to the next closest dasher, best dasher to take it. At least that's what they claim. Well, if there's, let's say there's 25 dashers in that area right now that can take that order. If everyone waits 30 seconds, that order could take 25 minutes before somebody actually decides to accept it. or 30 minutes, where their average is closer to 3 or 4 minutes.
Right. And that cripples the system.
And that will actually have an impact. And that will get their attention. But so you want to go out and make it known that, you know, what people need to do is say to Tony Xu, hey, stop with this already. Start sending fair offers. You know, I see on some days I see nothing but $2.50, $2.75, up to $5 offers, and I'm not touching them. I mean, some of them, I don't know who's doing a $2.75 offer for 10 miles.
Well,
I mean,
let me tell you this, JP. And what I saw this week in St. Louis, and Parker mentioned this a little while ago. He saw something similar. He saw a lot of new drivers, wide-eyed drivers, red bags, like brand new bags, like in St. Louis. And this is only 1.5 weeks. I'm seeing significantly, for me, more new faces than I've ever seen, and I've been seeing a little bit of a decrease in the volume of orders that I was getting. Right now, there could be a lot of factors there, but I think DoorDash ain't never gonna have to. They know people are gonna take $2 or $3 orders, because what are these new drivers doing? They turn on the app, they see a $2 or $3 order, they think they have to take it, they take it, and it might take them several weeks or several shifts, or maybe a whole day of doing 20 orders, and not all $2 or $3, but enough of them are, right? And then I don't have to take this. Acceptance rate really might not matter as much. I could cherry pick a little better. Like, so I think there's so many drivers out here that are either sometimes chasing a percentage, whether to get Top Dasher or to stay Diamond Zone friendly, or they're brand new, and DoorDash knows it. So for as many of Chris's and Parker's and JP's as there are, and kids, right, and Pedro's and the Matrix, there's just as many, if not more, Dashers, I think, with a higher acceptance that are taking the $3 order going a mile, because they say, oh, it's $3 a mile, fits within my framework. You know, I'll take it, whatever. I'm just trying to stay busy. It's $3 I didn't have. I think a lot of drivers have that mentality more than have the mentality of us on the panel.
Also, what JP said, if you let the offer expire, DoorDash will resend it to you if they increase the base.
That is true.
Yeah, they actually do.
25 cents, 50 cents. Yeah. So
I've actually gotten closer, and the offer's been less. I've seen that as well.
Hey, Pedro. Yeah. Pedro, you asked me to step offline and find out. The cheapest one I have on this phone is $2.
Okay, listen, the $2, I've never seen $1.75. So the only reason I push back on you
I have no problem. I'll get you. Listen. I'm gonna give you my number in the back chat.
Sounds good.
I will just give you an example. I can step out today and get a $1.75 order. I'll step out tonight. Matter of fact, and when I do, this is the only thing I want. I'm gonna step out tonight just to do it. I wasn't dashing tonight, but I'm gonna step out tonight. When I do, all I gotta say is, when I start the channel, I want a promotion shout out on the first 15 videos you do after that.
Listen. That's worth a lot of money. That's worth a lot of money for 15 videos. I'll do you one better.
Just say my name.
If you send me a screenshot of a $1.75 offer, I'll do an entire video on that screenshot. That's what because I'll tell you this right now. That video,
look, as long as you talk bad about it,
a lot of views. Yeah.
Listen, as long as you talk bad about it.
Oh no, I would.
Okay, cool. Look. I'll go out and get you one tonight with tonight's screenshot date on it.
Is Judge talking about Uber orders? Because I've seen Uber orders sub $2 before.
I've seen Uber at
I'm talking DoorDash.
I've seen orders $1.49 too.
Yeah, I've seen $1.49 on Uber once.
Right. So
that was an ad.
Hold up. Kid said you've seen $1.75 on DoorDash.
Yeah, a couple times, but that was like when I was first started dashing. Though.
What market are you in?
So I'm northern Indiana.
Okay.
Thank you. He's closer to Cleveland.
But I will say DoorDash has gotten a lot better.
How many years ago was that,
Vic? That was in 2018-19.
Okay, there we go.
I've gotten them recently. Like literally, just give an example. I've got such $2 order at least 10 times this week.
So Judge, this is what I'm asking of you, and it's up to you if you want to oblige.
I'll oblige by anything.
Instead of sending me a screenshot, is there a way you can actually send me a video recording of the $1.75 order?
Oh, matter of fact, I'll go out tonight. I'll get you $1. I'll get you one of them orders, and I'll screenshot the whole. I'll film the whole. Listen. I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up, and I'll deliver it to the customer. And I'll even talk about if he says anything. I'll even talk about the $1.75.
You send me that info. I'm licking. I'm licking my chops because I'll tell you right now. That's a 10K. That's a 10K view video for me in 24 hours. I already know it.
So
I'll talk all the shit on DoorDash all day long, man.
Listen, I expect to be paid. I'm gonna go out and get it for you right now.
Listen. I would love to make a video on that because I have never seen anybody make a video on DoorDash content.
Oh, well, just give an example. Listen. I have an area. We've coming up with a term in our book in our like 5 dashers. We call it don't take orders from NREs. That's what we call it, NREs. And basically, I know where area to go, and I'll get one tonight. You get multiple. I know area I can step out tonight, and now that is bad if you say, "Wow, this dude said he came on here, said about this order, and then went out and got one."
No, listen, I don't want you to have to. You don't have to prove. All I need's one, and I'm not saying I believe you if you're that. But all I'm saying is I haven't heard of a market with the base being lower than $2. I just haven't heard.
Okay, all I'm saying is this too, and then also this is what I want to know. Every time I come on, if I say something, especially if I get it tonight and show you the video, you gotta say this dude is gold.
Listen, the reason I'm gonna give you all the respect. I'll shout out your channel. Because on DoorDash's website, it says $2 to $10. Right? But listen, so if you show me a single offer for $1.75, then DoorDash is lying to everybody. The shareholders, the dashers. So I got to see this. And the kid said it was 2018. I'm talking right now on the website. It says the range is $2, and that's on a stack. Because mine was 220. That's the lowest. So I definitely am ready to make a video. I will at DoorDash. I will at Tony'sU. I have no problem doing that. But I don't think I'm still questioning that you're going to be able to provide me that. I'm not going to lie. I'm still questioning.
As you see, I'm getting in the vehicle as we speak.
Not drinking drive, Judge.
Let me get this 175.
Let me get this 175. That's funny. Oh Lord.
Hey Pedro, can I ask JP a question?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask JP a question too.
JP.
Okay. Yeah.
As a lifelong Republican, what do you think about Prop 22 in California?
I think Prop 22 is good for DoorDash and food delivery, those apps. But I think it still sucks for rideshare drivers because it was written by the companies to benefit themselves. And they spent, everyone's saying now 150, 175 million. They actually spent over $400 million with the consortium. It wasn't just Uber. Uber spent 240 million. Lyft was like 100 million. I can't remember all the breakouts, but they spent almost $500 million to get California to pass that
of taxpayer money, correct?
No, their own money. They actually went on that. They went on
the state.
The companies went in and spent that kind of money, and all they did was they advertise all these wonderful things because they were going to get destroyed by AB5, and so they had to do something. But the way they wrote the law, it's lousy, really. For other than food delivery people can make better money because of it. And if you don't go out and really hustle a lot, you sit around, and that's not going to happen on Uber and Lyft because of how it works. It's only active time, but right. You can be active on DoorDash and just take every offer, right, and take your time, and you can end up with.
But would you like to see something like Prop 22 in your market? I mean,
I have a full list. I've actually contacted my congressman or woman, I should say. I'm sorry, and both U.S. senators, and said this is what I'd like. What I'd like to see is similar to what's going on in Washington State. That's what I would like to see nationwide. I mean, there should be minimums. And I'm not doing it for me because I make good money doing this. I don't need the money. It's just that simple. I'm retired. I've got without that I have plenty of money coming in from retirement, Social Security. I just don't have to. I don't have to work. But I do believe that most people who work in the gig economy are in for a rude awakening as they get older and older, and they go to collect Social Security and say, what? There's only going to be $1,200 a month. I mean, how are you going to live on that?
You think the onus should be on the companies, not the state or county or city, to provide that base, like almost like a minimum wage? You think the onus is on the companies, not the state?
Exactly. I believe that all the companies should pay a living wage. I mean, that
wouldn't make us 1099 anymore, though.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, you could do the same.
How?
There's a lot of ways to work it out. What would most likely work is the same model that they're working in Washington State and Portland, Oregon. Both of those, and they're about to start it in Connecticut. Connecticut is basing it on $36 an hour. That's gonna, and when you put all of the factors together, they'll actually be able to make money. The biggest problem with Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and all of these companies that nobody's dealing with right now is employee stock compensation and the non-cash things that they are able to take off of their. I don't get too far into it, but they are not showing all of their expenses. Uber lost $9.2 billion with a B, $billion in 2022. Yet they got all of this wonderful press when they reported their year-end earnings. If you look at and they say they made $600 million last year, they actually lost on cash. $9.2 billion in total, and they paid their employees in stock compensation $1.9 billion.
That's true.
That's crazy.
That's true.
That is literally ridiculous. Okay, they're rewarding horrible performance, and what's happening? Well, now Lyft has kind of dropped like a rock, actually, because of what was reported with the insurance. I think Uber's next. I don't think Uber's putting away, and because Uber has all these other things they can hide behind, I think Uber has a much bigger problem with the insurance.
Grubhub's next.
I think for not making it or not making it, that would be true. But all of these companies are doing things that reward. They are getting filthy rich. Their executives and their chosen few are getting filthy rich while everybody else works their ass off. And I spent 45 years in the restaurant business. As I aged, I started to believe and change my entire belief as to what we should pay, because we were not paying enough. We were not paying a living wage. And if you want people to stick around with you, you have to be able to do that. They have to know they can actually make money. And I don't think the gig economy is going to go anywhere. I think it's going to be there for a long time to come. But I think there needs to be real reform before we're going to get and the companies won't do it on their own. They'll only do it if they're forced to.
But isn't that part of the problem, though? Because I hear this a lot. We think that these companies want people to stick around for years and years and years, but that's not their goal. They don't care if we stick around or not. They just don't.
No, they're not
because that's the reason why they always have every year we do this same cycle over and over and over again, and then we keep telling them, hey, you'll do better if you just keep the people that's on there for years and years and years. But they keep telling us, look, we hear what you're saying, but we don't care. We just care about the bottom line. So we can keep throwing that in their face, but that's not their goal. And that's my problem.
Their goal has never been actually to, one of the things, let me say this, Pedro, since I'm going to go out and get your order. And I know it comes off and I come off as a 10-4 hat dude.
No, listen, I got to say this. I love this. This is great. This is
right. Look, bro, I got thick skin. I'm not worried about it. But this is one of the things I want to say. The reason why I can tell you about that, like when I said, when I was a thief, I stole money electronically through computers. Like I said, and that's how I know what computers can do. And that's why I can tell you how the algorithm is set to cater to certain people, especially when it benefits them. Just give an example.
Let me ask you a question. So earlier,
no, yes, it does. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've been trying to get into the large order program, and my metrics all meet the criteria. I've called to the in-app chat. I've called again. I've done the in-app. I've called support. I'm on a waiting list. I use the link to get on the waiting list. So if DoorDash is feeding my account favoritism, don't you think they'd want me to be on the large order program to show my audience?
Not necessarily. No. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. This is the problem. Listen. I'm gonna tell you why. As a person as this is the problem with people like you. You are an incredibly dangerous person, Pedro, because one of the things you have is morals. Moral people with but listen, people with morals is like this. You can't be bought. So the best thing to do is to use you as I call, like, pay. It was people we had when we were stealing money. It was, okay, fine. This person can't be bought because they're good, but the person can be manipulated in certain ways by doing this thing. I can't let them know that I know that this person can't be bought, because if I came out and bought Pedro and it didn't go well, that would be career suicide.
Let me tell you this. I've said this before.
What the hell are we
DoorDash could pay me. And I would admit, if DoorDash wants to write me a fat check, you best goddamn believe I'm cashing that check. I'm gonna make a video about it, and I'm gonna send my kid to college. So
hell yes,
I would take a check. I'll take anything they want to send me. Yeah.
Okay, I've already said this. So
but what I'm trying to say is this: is like I said, when we was doing that, there was people who were wise. But the best thing is to do is when people are being used and don't know they're used. Those are the best people. And as I said, as a former, bad person who turned good, I saw that. That's the reason why I'm not into computer networking, because I saw how easy it was to manipulate and steal stuff. That's the reason why you have all these data breaches and all like that. Trust me, it's corruption all throughout that. And think about it. If China has the most security cameras than any country in the world, and you do anything minute, and 10 minutes later there's somebody at your door, trust me. The computer can, wait a minute, this is cool. Share it to him like this. Don't always give him, because why? It'll come back to bite us in the ass.
I just keep looking at Chris shaking his head, saying America's fucked. I'm so glad I'm in this.
Yeah.
I mean,
all you idiots just go fuck off into a ditch. I like it here.
Think about it. If the president can come on TV and say there won't be a Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, that thing is gone, and you guys don't think that we can? You don't think that DoorDash can manipulate an algorithm as a company that's already manipulated people, already stolen from people, already? right.
So I don't think they're manipulating mine. I didn't say they couldn't. I don't think they're manipulating mine. That's my point.
I mean, the proof is, look at this is the problem. It's like trusting DoorDash with anything. I would trust a crackhead not to smoke crack tomorrow.
Good.
Before I trust DoorDash, because it's that bad. The company has proven that. Why do you
still do it, Judge? Just
delete
the app from your phone and don't do it anymore. Nobody's got a gun to your head forcing you.
Look, bro. Nobody's forcing you. And I hate to say, that's the sounds of a stupid person that they say that nobody's got a gun to my. I got another job. I got another career. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna make money. Listen, I have been doing that. But the fact is this: just because, remember, like I said, I fight for the little guy now. I'm not going to let people get taken advantage of. And I've seen this company taking advantage of people. And I'm fighting for that. I don't care about the money because I'm set. It's not like I'm living hand in mouth. No offense. I'm pretty sure y'all can tell from my house. You can tell from my house that I'm not broke.
Time out. I want to ask Parker, as somebody that has used the apps to do what you've done,
his mouth because he's laughing.
Do you think DoorDash has taken advantage of you, Parker?
He's laughing. He can't stop.
Hold
on. Let Parker answer the question.
Sorry, baby.
Do I? Maybe. And actually, this kind of, I'm going to try to wrangle this all together, because we've had a lot of, we talked about China there for a minute, really some twists and turns that I didn't expect.
Went all political, bro.
I have my own tinfoil hat theory. So let me
love it. I
buckle
want to
down
hear
here and get mine ready.
I want to hear it.
I thought for a while, you talked about acceptance rate and diamond order and all this stuff. My theory is any incentive that DoorDash provides for people to have a high acceptance rate, I think has worse outcomes for Dashers in low socioeconomic areas. And let me tell you my reasoning behind that. I think if people, like you talked about earlier, or I think Judge said he can go to a certain area right now and get a $1.75 order, right? There are certain areas in Webster Groves too, where it's like super poor income. If you're going to that area, you're tip and that kind of thing. If you have Dashers isolated to that area and you're encouraging them to only get a high acceptance rate and never, like maybe they have, you're catering to people who don't have like means of transportation. Maybe they use DoorDash as like their primary food source, or maybe the Dasher themselves, they can't afford to like drive the extra miles to get out of that area, and they're just trying to make a quick buck in this local area that they live. If you get always the thing behind having a higher acceptance rate is you're kind of promised this better pay and that kind of thing. But if you're just chasing something, once you get there, there'll be a high order, that kind of thing, to cancel that thing out. Mm-hmm. I think if I wouldn't have like stumbled upon this channel, like at first, whenever I first doing this, I lived on Miami Street. You probably know where that is, Pedro.
I absolutely do. Yeah.
You know where Miami Street is, yeah. So
State Streets. That's not a great area. Yeah, yeah.
Not good. And if I stayed around there, luckily, I got out of that area and moved. But if I would have stayed around there, I think I would have just been kind of on that endless hamster wheel of just chasing a higher acceptance rate, trying to get it up and never evening that out. That's the time where I think that I've been maybe taken advantage of. But other than that, I mean, honestly, I'm going to start a residency in June. And honestly, it's something I've wanted to ask the chat is maybe it's not my goal, but I'd like to maybe get deactivated in June because I no longer plan to do this. So is there something that people will want to see from someone who no longer has to rely on this in any means? If there's ideas, let me know.
Pick up a no-tip order and kick the burrito down the street.
So Parker, my mind immediately went to, I got to get Parker in the ride. Let's do a ride along together with your account and let's make a video. That would be fun.
But yeah, I'm down. Like in June, early June, hit me up.
Yeah. We got to be safe though. We can't do anything stupid and silly, right? Because we can't be around the Miami streets because you never know what can happen over there. We got to go somewhere a little safer.
That's not.
I'm sorry, but I can't read. Is it Vic? Is that the guy underneath of or the kid under Pedro? There it is. Vic. I wanted to answer your question, and I'm going to give a short version of this story. But when I first started doing rideshare, was 2016. I started in late 2015, but really got into it in 2016. I bought a newer car. It was about a year and a half old. But to make a long story short, I picked up at the Charlotte airport, and I live about probably an hour and 15 minutes from that airport. I picked up a lady who turned out to be a consultant for Uber, and we then went uptown and picked up an executive. He was actually the number 2 or number 3 guy in charge at Uber at the time. He was he was on the phone for part of the trip with Travis, who is the CEO at the time, right? Or Kalanick or whatever his name was, right? Make a long story short, one of the questions he asked me was dynamic. If you wanted to dynamically build this Uber business, what would you do as a business person? I said, that's easy. You got to take better care of your drivers. His answer was, you don't understand this yet. We don't give a shit about the drivers. Okay. And I said to him, I do understand. I haven't been there, but let me explain something to you. He goes, John, everybody's going to want to be an Uber driver. I said, sir, you don't understand what you're saying right now. And I'll tell you, in the business I was in the fast food industry, you want to see what happens when you continue to treat people poorly for for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, you get McDonald's.
You get McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King, and all three of them are struggling and have been. And I worked for two of those companies and was proud of what I did there. But I'm telling you, he didn't understand. And to date, the best numbers that they've published is that 60 million or 60 or 70 million people have driven for Uber. Guess what? Their pool is going to eventually disappear, and that's what happens. That's what I was talking about.
It burned them out.
Yeah, and
but oh, go ahead.
No, that was what I wanted to say to you. Is that it was funny because he was really saying you haven't been doing this long enough. We just don't care about the drivers, and I'm like, yeah, I get to see that.
Look.
This guy is very smart. This guy is very smart. He's right.
Okay.
He's totally right.
But okay, I really want everybody to hear this. I know because it shows in their actions, but you guys are missing the point. You guys are missing the whole point. Is what me and Pedro, I know on the last live I talked about before. Whatever they say, whatever they do, believe them. We are literally, as drivers, are trying to fight Goliath as if we have power to fight them. That is not how you win. Do we want to be right or do we want to win? Do we want to be right and try to somehow fight a Goliath, or do we want to win and make money and have freedom in our lives?
Win.
We can. I
want to win. I want to win,
What?
but I think the way you win this one, is to get the bigger Goliath that's out there, and that's called the U.S. government and each local government. And those drivers are winning pretty big right now. In Washington, the acceptance rate on most offers is like 90%. If you listen to Sergio and Chris on the rideshare guy, it's like 90 or 95% acceptance rate on offers.
On the right.
But how long is that going to take? Each state is different. We're not like California and Washington. It's going to take years. And who has years? That's my point.
And here's how long it took them. It took them 2 years. It took them 2 years.
JP, what are they
Who
doing?
has 2 years? People are suffering now. They need to find money now. They don't have 2 years.
Well,
we are literally on the brink of a recession. You think people have 2 years? God.
What are they doing better in Washington, JP? What are they doing better in Washington versus Prop 22 in California? Why is it better?
Well, first the pay per mile is $1 minimum, $1.36, I believe, and then it's 62 cents a minute. I'm going to make that relevant for you, and so why I've stopped.
Time and mile.
Yes. Time.
Oh, wow.
That's okay.
Better.
And there's other benefits as well. But in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is where I drove, where I did 20,000 trips. All right. The pay per minute is 14 cents and per mile is 51 cents.
Yeah. That's like 3 times the pay.
Okay. So you look at that now, and even when I drove the select vehicle and the Lyft luxury vehicle, it was still, and most of the rides I got were still less than $1.36 a mile. Okay. And the only place I got that kind of money was in the Outer Banks. And it's very expensive in the Outer Banks, and people, I made great money in the summertime working the Outer Banks. But you got to be able to afford.
Is that rideshare and delivery, or is there?
No, I just did rideshare, but I did delivery as well. I mean, I didn't do much Uber Eats back then because they didn't show you anything. When they first started it, I did it, but they didn't give you any information. All they did was give you didn't even give you the name of the restaurant. It told you where you were going to go and how far away it was. You didn't tell you any other information. And the first 3 I did were McDonald's, and I think I made $2.25 or $2.50 on each one, and said, this isn't worth it.
I want to chime in on something real quick, and then I want to get Chris back in on the convo, and we can just kind of go around. We talked about how do we win, right? I think JP's point is you want some regulation, right? And Vic is saying, well, we don't need regulation. We got to win now. We got to make money now. People are, and JP's looking like, all right, well, let's not have these companies take advantage of us, right? And how do we get some regulation to where people are actually being treated more fairly as far as monetization? So he's referencing Seattle, Washington, and various places, right? And I think there's good points on both sides. For me, being the guy that has the channel, and Chris has a channel, and many of you other people have channels, right? I win in trying to help people make money quicker. So people like Parker and the thousands of people that have come to the app for a part-time solution to a goal they have or a situation, they can make the money quick by some tips and tricks, some entertainment, some relatability, right? And they could like win in that way. So Parker's not stuck in the State Street in St. Louis making $4 a run, right? So the way I win is I see other people have success and move on and do better things. And for me, I think we can have more of an impact than going to a state-by-state regulation. That's just my opinion.
But that's also part of my point, is because regulation takes time in which now we don't have. All I'm saying is I get where JP, I understand and I get it, but we could do both. We could do regulation, but also understand that takes time. But what we can do right now is get people to learn skills, find different avenues so they can have the freedom to do whatever they want. We can't just keep going to government every single time. We tried it that way. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in the long term. People need money now.
But there's no other way to get it going other than through government. It has to go through government.
Or through a union, and nobody here wants a union. But I'll tell you what, talk to a UPS driver and see whether or not they like their and they used to be just like a DoorDash or Amazon or
were they 1099 JP at some point?
Were they 1099s?
In some cases, yes, they are today too. Not with UPS, but with FedEx and Amazon, a lot of them are 1099.
But the hourly pay for UPS drivers and the benefits that UPS drivers get is exceptional.
Sure, it is. It's over 40.
They got a very nice benefit package.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and they're driving somebody else's truck.
But they have to have a CDL license and get training and go through a lot more hoops and hurdles. Back to Pedro's original point at the beginning of the show, what skills do you need to be a DoorDash driver? Nearly nothing. Skills to be a UPS driver, much higher. You have to have a CDL license. You
don't have to have a CDL. They're not
no, you don't. You have a CDL, right?
They don't need 26,000 pounds and over. Okay. You need to get to a CDL.
I thought the length of the truck was where you had to have a CDL for UPS.
No, you don't. You don't need a CDL.
Well, it is.
My son works for them.
A 26-foot box truck and over 26,000, I think it's 26 or 36,000 pounds, you got to have a CDL. But you don't have to have a CDL to drive for UPS. I know a lot of people with UPS.
But if you work for UPS, you are employed by UPS.
That's correct.
Benefits, minimum wage, hourly pay, all of it, right?
Yes.
Medical, dental.
You get everything. And they're wonderful benefits.
That's a big difference from what we do, guys.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I just want to jump in for a second, if that's okay, guys.
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so we're talking a lot about legislation with this, and getting your ticketing and everything like that. So Australia, where this is the hot topic point right now for us. Do we unionize up? Legislation is all trying to start getting pushed across to government. And I think the biggest concern that we have with legislation over here is we just lost Deliveroo. That was our third biggest food delivery company a couple of months ago. They just uprooted and fucked off from Australia. They said, we're burning too much money. It's not working. There's too much competition. They can just uproot and leave like that for us. So DoorDash can do that in Australia. Uber Eats can do that in Australia. Uber can do that in Australia. They can just uproot and leave if legislation goes unfavorably too hard to the companies. Now, and this is where it gets tricky as well. So there's another edge, I guess, to if you think of a seesaw or a bit of a fulcrum happening. So if we legislate everything up, drivers get really great pay. So like you're talking about FedEx and UPS drivers getting good wages, good salaries, everything's locked in, great benefits. That flexibility, that available driver pool, they can't have everyone sitting there on full-time hours anymore, part-time hours or anything like that. They got to start cutting back the driver pool. So the question comes down to, are you going to be deactivated? Are you the lucky one who gets to keep your gig?
That's it. That's what I said in the video I made the other day.
It's more restrictions. It's going to be more restricted.
And it would be more restrictive on the company. I agree, but it would be like in Australia, you already have that. They're required to pay. Isn't it 21 something an hour?
21.38. Yeah, that's minimum wage here.
That's minimum wage, and they see, and those are the kinds of now. Honestly, now you know
not
the people that know me, the people, to drive, to do anything, it's 21.
You get paid $21.50 an hour to drive for DoorDash plus.
No. We're on contracts over here. We don't even have earned by time over here.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that you do not, as a DoorDash driver in Australia, get some sort of mini wage.
Correct. And there's no adjustments up like what happens in California or anything like that. It's just the offer that comes in.
Right. Okay. No tips, just base pay.
Spot on. I think you guys have got it pretty lucky right now. I'm hearing all
that's what I was. Listen, I was just going to say we complain and bitch and moan, and I do a lot of it. Right? I cry. I'm like, come on. And look at this. Look at Chris. Look guys, would we rather have it how we have it now, or how it is in Australia? You guys.
Chris's face looks happy, so I think I'd rather be him.
Well, but his lifestyle
looks like a happy bloke all day.
This smile would go bigger if I got a tip.
There you go.
That's true.
But my whole thing is like, look, every country is different. America is different than every other country. Here in America, we thrive on flexibility. We thrive on freedom. We love remote work. It's the way the market is right now, and to try to restrict that with regulation overall within the entire country is not going to be good. You honestly think that let's just say that passes. Let's just say all 50 countries or all 50 states do government regulation. You're a part of DoorDash. You really honestly think that the amount of drivers are going to stay the same? It's going to drop dramatically. They're going to say
the customer service would take a hit in about 6 months' time. Less people would order from DoorDash. That's exactly what
all I can report is that has not happened. That is not the case in California. It's not the case in Washington State. It's not the case in Illinois, and it's not the case in Oregon.
What do they have in Illinois, JP? What's
actually people are ordering more on DoorDash.
I don't know what the legislation is, but their numbers have continued to grow, and there have been regulations in cities like Chicago for several years. And that hasn't been the case. My point is, I listen. The people who know me will say, "What is John lost? He's gone senile. Okay, he's got Alzheimer's or something. Okay,
it's like they probably call you like, what happened to the Republican? Is he a socialist now?
What happened? What happened here? All I'm saying is, I unfortunately see what's happening with this group of people that believe they have created a technology company. They haven't done anything. When you look at flexibility, if you need this to go out and make money, you really don't have much flexibility here either anymore. You have to when the business is there, you got to go out. Okay. And that's the way it's always been. With
I think that's a really good point for the majority of drivers. Yes, I do.
But what Vic the Kid just said, he was pissed off, and Chris is saying in Australia, he targets about $40 Australian, maybe 35 American, and that's just what he goes for. So Chris is doing this without customer tips, just all base pay by the merchants, and he's targeting $40 an hour, which to us would be about $35 an hour. So what's the difference there? He goes out, he works however many hours, he just gets base pay, and he makes a good hourly wage. What's the difference there, Chris?
Well, I'm trying to figure it out to an extent. So if you think of it as a triangle, you've got the merchant, you've got the customer, and you've got the driver, and something's got to give on the pay factors there. Is the customer paying more in Australia than they are in America? Is the merchant's percentage about 30%? I think it is in Australia right now that they're losing to DoorDash. Are they taking a different hit across in America? Or is the driver getting paid lower and DoorDash makes their money that way? So there's got to be something that gives or something that's adding in there because we're sustaining without tips.
It's nationwide, right? Do you have any mates that are like on the other coast that have a different experience or a different payment plan? New Zealand? Is New Zealand different?
New Zealand is relatively same pay structure to us. I don't know if they got tips on. Japan is a completely different stratosphere. I have no idea what's going on over in Japan right now, but they're up and running with DoorDash. But New Zealand seems very similar. They're on the payment per kilometer and also base pay. I don't know if they have tips or not, but I would not be surprised if they had no tips as well, because New Zealand's not really a tip-based country.
How many deliveries will you do in an hour?
Yeah, and this is probably a different thing as well. So I see Pedro's holding up 3.4.
3.
I'd be lucky to get 2.5.
Oh, wow.
2.5.
Yeah, I get 4 or 5.
So you're getting $20 a delivery then, or somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah, you see, that's a big difference between.
That sounds like a
here.
good goddamn system to me.
Yeah, it does. if it's
and
if
what
it's
maybe
much,
that goes to like what JP's trying to say here. Like if there was like more of like a, let's not worry about the tips. Let's not worry about this. Let's get some regulation in or some kind of standard or whatever word we want to use.
I make my money on tips. I just looked it up, and I made this week in the 3 apps that I looked at, I made 40% more in tips than what the app. And one of them I made I made only $100 by what the app paid me, but I made almost 5 on when they added in the tips. It's really simple. I have figured out how to make that. And to your point, Vic, I share that with everybody that I talk to and everybody I meet. But I got to tell you, a lot of people say, well, but look at that. You have an 18% acceptance rate. I could never do that. That's just poor customer service. But I don't know. Your customer rating's 4.7. Mine's 5.0. I don't know where you're coming off with. I'm not. These customers that don't tip, they're not my customer.
But here in America, we have.
Hey, Pedro.
That's not my point, though.
Pedro.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Yeah,
hold on.
I do understand. I don't understand exactly what would you like to see happen right now? I mean, how would you handle that? Because I'm all ears. I don't know, other than what I've said. I don't know what else to do.
Can I throw something out there just to, I guess, maybe stir the pot up a little bit? So you guys are tip relying on it. So the base delivery fee, or like the fare that the customer's paying for the delivery, if they doubled or tripled that, DoorDash doubled or tripled that, would you be so concerned about tips anymore?
No, if I couldn't see that a customer, like I'm petty like Pedro, if I could not see that a customer didn't tip me at all or wanted to tip me but couldn't because of government regulations, if it was just, hey, here's a delivery, it's $10, it's 8 kilometers, that's it. You do it or not. If I didn't see the customer tip as part of the equation at all, I would feel much better about that. Like, I'm just now going to do like a widget job. I don't think the customer's petty, cheap, or rich. I have no preconceived notion about the customer. I would feel way better about that. You know what I mean?
But where's the money going to come from?
DoorDash.
No, it's going to come from the customer.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're already charging. It
depends on the fee structure in Australia. We don't know.
Well, hold on. So it depends on. There are times, and I want to say hi to driving with Ty. Everybody say hi. He's down at the bottom. There you go.
What up, Ty?
What's going on?
What's up, man? Good to have you here. I think that we have to realize. Let's say tips went away, because I've thought about this. Okay, let's say tips weren't an option. The customer didn't have to leave a tip. We didn't have to worry about it. So all we're worried about is face value, mileage. Okay, forget a tip for a second. Australia, they don't do it, right? And Chris might get a cash tip every once in a while, right? But it's probably pretty rare, right? So let's say we just, the customer is going to pay the wage, and what they'll do is on some of these McDonald's and various other merchants, even some mom and pops, the delivery fee could be $1, it could be $0, $2, very small, right? Very small. It could be and other times I've seen it $8.99, $10.99, like I've seen it kind of high. So if they just went away from the tip thing, and DoorDash decided to pay us just from them, they're just going to roll that price to the consumer, and every delivery will be a delivery fee of, let's say, $12. And if you're really far away, maybe it's more. And then they'll give us a cut of that. And sometimes it'll work in our favor. Sometimes it won't. But the consumer is always going to pay. DoorDash isn't going to say, hey, guys, let's go ahead and make 50 million less this quarter, and let's give that to the Dashers across America. They're never going to do that. They're going to say, okay, the consumer's going to have to pay more. And most consumers are probably just maybe pay it. A lot of them won't, because, hey, now I can't afford it. Now that Chipotle bowl, instead of it being $25 with a tip, it's $35. I cannot justify a $35 Chipotle bowl, right? So the customer is always going to pay. Like,
does Chris have any actual proof that they charge customers more per kilometers, or do you have any idea where the fees and charges come from the customer?
From the actual. It comes from the actual menu. I've had situation with restaurants where they'll have an item for like $11.99 for them, but then they'll go on DoorDash and it'll be like $17.99. I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere. That's the problem I have with it. People think that DoorDash is just gonna you think DoorDash is just gonna just take that hit? No, they're gonna take the buck somewhere else. Somebody's gonna have to pay that.
Right now, they're already doing that, but what they're doing is they're keeping it for themselves and for their select few that they're divvying it up with. And if you look at what they get paid, and it's a problem, and it's going to continue to be a problem if it doesn't get fixed here, because that money should be passed along to the to the driver and to other people that are actually out doing the work. But instead, these folks are just doing it within their small circles of people, and they're making tons of money. They're becoming multimillionaires working for these companies. And they're not a technology company. They're not. I mean, a technology company is a company like Apple or Google. They make something, and they sell something of value. These companies are they're a broker. They're taking and bringing together a restaurant, a customer, and a driver, and then they're taking 30% on average for the mom and pops. If it's a chain restaurant like I dealt with, we were getting 15%.
It's less, but the mom and pops are 30. Yeah,
but that's something we don't talk about enough.
The customer paid it. It was not marked up. It was marked up 13-14% to the consumer. And the consumer always pays.
And what DoorDash charges the restaurant, what you just said, the average in my market is 30%. So if somebody places a sushi order for $100, the restaurant, gets the $100 order, they're only getting $70 for that order. They're paying DoorDash $30 for that sushi order. And that's just on the merchant side. We talk about this. Pedro and I have talked about this all the time on these lives. The amount of money they get from the merchant is unbelievable. And then they turn around and pay, a low wage. Yeah, they're going to pass the additional costs probably onto the customer. But that's why I asked Chris if he knew in Australia if the merchant paid that per mile or if DoorDash paid it, if he actually had information. Australia is a test market, he said. Maybe they're testing a new model.
Well, they do have the DoorDash, I think it's DoorDash Drive, which is where they can integrate into their apps or websites for businesses. And that's got a fixed rate. I think it's $9 something. It's got a kilometer limit on it. I can't remember off the top of my head. So that is a fixed rate sum that restaurants would incur the cost for, but they'd probably change their delivery fee on the website to counteract it out. But when it comes down to from the app itself, I don't think the merchants are paying delivery fees out of that. Customers are getting charged delivery fees, service fees, GST tax on top of that, and then the restaurants getting hammered off their 30% fee or 15% on the chain, as JP was saying before.
And if you, as a restaurateur, I'll tell you that if I mark it up 13-14% and I have to pay DoorDash 15%, it's not costing me anything. It's the customer is paying.
I was just going to say that. It's a good point, JP. That's why the prices are inflated, like Vic was
and
saying.
I have an example. I have a restaurant I go to all the time, Vic, that and I won't place the order on either online on theirs because it's $15.99 what I get. It's a sushi place, right? But they have a hibachi grill there, and it's wonderful food, right? And the plate that I get is $15.99. If I order it on their app, on the restaurant's app, it's $18.99. Order it on DoorDash, it's $20.99. And I asked him, I said, why is it more for me to place the order in advance? Oh, because we have to have a computer and all the rest of the stuff to maintain it and what have you. And I'm like, okay, I look at it like this. As a restaurant person, I'd say, I don't have to have somebody there taking your order, taking your money. I don't have to do any of that. It's just easier. And I know it's going to be right because you put the order in and placed it.
They don't have to pay a hostess an hourly
I'm gonna say they don't have to pay
order.
anybody anything extra, but the restaurants are doing the same thing, and I get it. But it is in this industry.
You know when that started, JP? When the pandemic started.
Yep.
Restaurants had no other way to deliver food to customers. All the in lobbies were closed. All the restaurants. So if you wanted to stay alive and adapt, hell yeah, you're going to pay 30% to DoorDash for somebody.
It's a full streamlined service. That's why I'm trying to say. This is a luxury streamlined service.
Yes,
that if they want the more people ordering from their restaurant, that's what they pick. DoorDash is a for-profit company. They're there to make money. And if they have to streamline that to the restaurant and up the price on customers, that's what they got to do.
But DoorDash saw that opening during the pandemic when all the lobbies in restaurant eating closed. DoorDash saw the opportunity and said, "Hey, Applebee's, what about 30% to get your food to customers?" Yep, we'll pay it. Well, our food cost is 21%. We'll pay it.
Without DoorDash and Uber, I would say a lot of restaurants and a lot of mom and pop restaurants would have gone out of business. They wouldn't even be here.
No,
they wouldn't even be here right now.
You're absolutely right. But they saw that, and they saw that and took advantage of it and said, 30% is freaking high, man. That is in the restaurant business. Pedro knows this. A 30% cut on your entire margin.
Oh, it is. But we have to understand, DoorDash solved the problem. They solved the solution.
Thank you. They solved the issue.
And the issue is, and this is the issue, and maybe it's like this in Australia, I don't know. The issue is we like to eat in America and we're lazy. Okay. And we want things fast. We want information fast. We want food fast. We
love our 10 pounds of barbecue sauce.
We love it. Yeah, I love it. I order on DoorDash. Like I want my stuff. I want it as fast as I can get it. And I don't usually mind paying a premium for it because it's convenience. And DoorDash saw that opportunity. They ran with it. And a lot of businesses, I think, were able to stay afloat. Right. And even also broaden their horizon of consumer base, because now consumers, oh my God, I didn't know about this awesome sushi place. Well, now I know about it. So, and a lot of restaurants actually benefited, not all, but a lot. I think a majority have benefited from having the third-party delivery app as an option to facilitate their business. And then as a good business owner, operator running a restaurant, I'm going to have to now charge $18.99 for that sushi plate versus $15.99, right? And that's just the cost of doing business. And some consumers will like it, some won't. But at that time, the problem was people were either told or didn't want to go out in the general public, so we had to bring them stuff.
Yeah, people got it. We were told not to go outdoors.
Yeah, and think about Instacart. Those guys were making a killing doing Instacart because people didn't want to go shopping.
God, I wish I could back then. My restaurant got closed down.
They solved the problem. They solved the problem, and it was a major problem at the time for basically almost 2 years, right? But it was a huge problem for like 9 months, I'd say, like where people were just like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying home. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And people were getting money from the government and sitting at home ordering food. Like this happened, guys. Like, right. So DoorDash saw that, okay, well, people still got to eat. How do we ramp up our operations and invest billions of dollars into getting new drivers, marketing, promotion, algorithm, support staff, all these people, right? And that's what happened, and it's crazy. They wouldn't be where they're at without the pandemic, for sure.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Can we go to Driving with Ty?
Please.
Let's go. Let's go, brother.
Just wait to chime in. Did you have a question for me? Or
no. I want. Listen, you've been hearing what we're saying, so the floor is yours, man.
So I got a couple of things to say. We're gonna start with Judge. Now, you might not want to hear this. Nobody might not want to hear this on his live, but he is right. I don't have a screenshot with you because I don't pay them no attention when they come to my phone when I do DoorDash on my channel. If some people watching on here, I'm a multi-apper basically. But I have seen
what market are you in?
DC.
You're in DC. I've never heard of this before.
In DC, $1.75?
$150, $75. I just basically was like, as I was sitting down listening to him at first, I'm like, maybe he's confusing it with Uber Eats, but then I remember a PetSmart stack order. It usually comes on the stack orders. And I seen a couple of people in your comments say, yeah, I got $1.50, $1.75 on stack orders. So
well, hold on. Pause for a second. Hold up.
Okay.
Respectfully, are you talking, because I've seen a PetSmart and it's like 8 runs and it's paying $10. Are you talking about those?
Talking about I'm in the store, going in the store for one run, right? And this, I'm just using PetSmart for example, but I remember it. I remember it's down the street from my house. I go in there for one order, then they try to stack it, and it went up. The order that I went in there for was $7.50, and next thing you know, they try to stack it with something else, and it just went up $8. I mean, not $8. It went to $8 basically from $7.50.
So hold on. So if you're on a $7.50 and you accept the $7.50, and you're telling me
not $8. Excuse me, $9. It went up. $9.
So
it went up $9.
You accepted a $7.50, and then you're in the store, you're driving, and the next thing that hits your phone is a plus $1.50 add to route. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
and that's on DoorDash, not on Uber, right?
It's not on. So we all know Uber throws the 150s in there. I'm talking DoorDash, stack order. Judge hit it on the note. I mean, he probably not gonna be able to find one tonight because I usually see him on stack orders. Let me say that. So, and I'm not. I've been doing this for 7 years, guys. It's not DoorDash. I'm not just coming over here, just hopped over here. I got
so here's a scenario. Hear me out. My base pay in my market is $2.50 for a single order. So, but if I get a double, like you just said, if I get a stack order, the base pay on both of those orders is $2. It drops 50 cents.
Yeah, mine too.
So I'm wondering, in your market, is there a chance that your base is $2, but if you get a stack,
Bingo.
the base on both orders drops to $1.50?
That's it right there. That's it.
Am I correct, Ty? Could that be the deal?
That has to be it.
I don't know the details within the app. I just hopped over here,
There could be a little caveat in the DoorDash contract terms that says the base is $2, but if it's stack,
it goes down 25 cents.
Because we all know when we get a stack from DoorDash, the base drops on both orders, unless it's an add-on. But if you get a double presented to you, so I'm wondering, Pedro, if these guys might not be onto something, that in their market the base is $2. They get a stack, $1.50 base on it.
I can throw something in here. So add to root orders in Australia, stacked orders in Australia. Our floor standalone offer $5.50. That's as low as they can give it to us. Add to roots though, drop below that $5.50. So if they've got a similar engineering thing happening there,
we have the same thing here.
We have a restaurant here. We have a restaurant here. Like, matter of fact, I'm sitting in the parking lot right now for it now. It's actually known. They actually even turned this to a hub at one time. Just give an example. The parking lot to this restaurant where you see I'm standing right now, it's a gas station. You wouldn't believe. As you see, I know the guy here. Like, I can walk in here, he'll tell you. He knows I'm a dasher here. Like, if I walk in here, watch you guys. So you see, I'm on the spot right now. He's gonna say, "What you got?" As soon as I walk in the door.
I'm gonna put you on a big screen. All right, hold up. Right. Hold on a second.
You're really looking for that $1.75.
This is the problem. No, this is the problem. I hate to say, I got a personal preference. I don't like. Remember, like I said, I don't lie no more. So when a person thinks I'm lying, it kind of burns me up.
Judge, can we ask you, is the base in your market $2? And if you get offered a double, does the base?
Hey man, no. Has it been slow today? Yeah, slow. All right. Like if you see, as soon as I walk in, hey, yes, boss, because you know me, because I come here that much. But yes, you will get plenty of orders out of this place here under $2, and they'll be single. Because I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie. I'm in single orders. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very close to the hood. Like you can get, I ain't gonna lie, they projects down there, projects all like full of projects, like everywhere. And if you see for every matter of fact, just give an example. If you look at this store real closely, this store was actually featured on first 48. So just give an example. Look up first 48 Cleveland episodes. This store was featured.
Judge,
Listen, I gotta say something. Judge, you can hear me, right? Yeah, you good?
Yes, I can.
Listen, I didn't like you at first, but I like you now, my friend. You earned my respect. You're out there in your car. Listen, I don't want you to think I thought you was lying.
Well, no, wait a minute. It gets even worse. You know why? Listen. Listen. I know we cool, but I want to tell you something else that just happened. Okay. Now, do you realize we got multiple accounts? I went to log into one of the accounts. One of the accounts is blocked tonight. Now, what's the chances of that happening as soon as I get on here and find out this? See, I won't.
Don't make me take it back, Judge. Don't make me take it back.
Oh, man.
You shouldn't be admitting to multiple accounts because that's against the terms of service.
Hold on. What Judge just said is the DoorDash people are in the offices right now in San Francisco watching me.
I just know of a driver that was blocked tonight. You know, I just thought that was funny.
But listen, I think what the Matrix said is right. It could be right because my base pays the lowest I would see is $2.25, but if I get an add-on route, I've seen $2. And if you get a stack, it goes down 25 cents. So in your guys' market, they could be paying you the minimum of what the website's saying, which is $2. And then if it's a stack, then obviously it's going to go from 175. And the way they're getting around it is, well, we're offering you more money in a different kind of ad route stackable way.
Yeah.
Right. So I think
that's got to be it.
That would logically that would make sense.
I mean, here's my thing. When those come in, because I see there's a lot of arguments about these low paying orders. When they come in, guys, go check out my channel. I can hit 2,000. I be hit 2,000 almost every week on my channel. Proof.
Oh shit! Sorry, hold on.
Because I disregard those orders that come in. We do a lot of arguing about these low paying orders. Why not just disregard those orders that come in? Like the guy just say, that's Goliath y'all trying to go against right there, right? Yeah, it's gonna take 2-3 years, but when y'all get what y'all want, like for example, Uber just implemented, instead of you doing your ride challenges to get your bonuses now they want you to hit $600 or $700 and they give you a ride challenge or ride challenge money on top of that because drivers was complaining about doing the trips for the bonus money. So now they're like, all right, well, look, now you got to hit this dollar amount to get some extra money. So at the end of the day, every time drivers complain on any app, it seems like they do punishment tactics. Okay, well, we're gonna do something more stupider. So I never seen an app get better. Pedro, I was beefing with you for a second because you was like DoorDash getting better. I'm not gonna lie, I was beefing with you for a second, and me, I've been in this gig economy thing for 7 years, guys. Tax time, I don't care what app it is. Point pickup, Instacart, Roadie is going to get better tax time. Point blank period.
Hey, Ty, are you part of Judge's crew?
Thanks.
4 or 5 guys.
No, he's not. I don't know him.
Judge crew, the boy, he was cooking. He was spitting facts.
No, full disclosure. Are you part of his crew? Like the 4 or 5 guys?
You got to be.
No.
Oh, he's not Cleveland. The Phantom Troop. I don't know enough about the crew.
Okay.
I don't know enough about the Phantom Troop he got over there, but
listen. I'm not. Listen, I know it sounds all funny and this and this. Like I said, I'm not known in this sector. But just give an example. Man, look. Once people come out, like you do any research and find out who I am, people will tell you I've been on many panels like this, and like I've had older people even say, if there was 2 people that came out and said they said something in a lie, and he said I had to vouch on it. If I had to ask 2 people, I would be one of them. And they said, because one of the things is this, I strive on not telling a lie, and I've admitted to so many things that most people wouldn't admit to. That you say this dude was. I mean, like literally, I would admit to if I did. Hey, man, I did that. It's just what it is. I mean, I'll take the L that go along with it. I mean, it's no problem with that.
We did the research when I said to Pedro, whatever your minimum basis in your market, it could get lowered theoretically by 50 cents if you got a double. So that's
definitely. Definitely, but I hate to say something. They do a lot of 175 from that restaurant there. but one of the things they do here in this area is a lot of this. Like, this is what they've been doing lately, what we're going to talk about. Normally, I live in a suburb of Cleveland. Now, the bad thing about the suburb of Cleveland that I live in is it shares the zone with the worst, was voted one of the worst cities in the United States, East Cleveland. That's where they, like, if you heard, I'm pretty sure you probably heard them on the news. You got like 40 cops that's been arrested in East Cleveland. So that goes to show, like, literally, they don't have, like, even the police will beat you up and rob you there. So what they've been doing lately is pushing the drivers to go further and further into East Cleveland. Like, I'm going to pull up to another spot because we're doing a video on that in a couple of weeks. You'll see.
Who is pushing you to go further and further?
Because, well, the DoorDash is. Because listen, I'm going to tell you how they do it. Because if they keep sending you orders for the same restaurant and keep lowering your position, that's manipulating you to go there. Otherwise, you're going to get penalized with a lowered acceptance rate.
Don't go there, Judge.
Let me hop in this. Let me hop in this right quick. Yeah.
You don't have to go there. Nobody's pushing you.
Yeah.
Anywhere. And if they are,
hold on, guys. Let's get Ty. I want to hear Ty's.
If you're being penalized for not going, then they are forcing you to go there.
Let me ask y'all this question though.
Because they lower your acceptance rate.
That doesn't penalize you. I've had a 0 acceptance rate. Doesn't penalize me.
Okay.
Don't deactivate you for having a 0 acceptance rate. Pedro's had one before.
Pedro, go ahead and talk to him, please.
So
yes, I like someone who treats it like a job.
I want to hear Ty's perspective. He wants to chime in.
Yeah. So I just heard somebody say treating it like a job. Now, if you get manipulated by the 0%, I know a lot of drivers down in the DMV, Nova Dasher. Sorry to put you out there like that, but his acceptance rating is worse than mine, and he gets good orders every day. You know what I'm saying? He gets good orders every day. DC, Maryland, Virginia. It wasn't when everybody was talking about that top dasher stuff. It was rare. It was like seeing a rare Pokemon down here if you ran into a top dasher. So I feel as though it's a lot of drivers on any app, whatever app is your choice. They throw these little incentives out here. Oh yeah. If you do keep your rating above 70%, you get A, B, C, and D. Like I said, I've been doing this for 7 years, guys. I mean, I'm rarely on the top of any app. I mean, I'm a platinum driver on Lyft. I do empower rideshare. Everybody don't have that. And then when I hop on these other apps like Spark, my metrics suck. I just got it. Me and Bud Soda on Nova Dasher live the other day. I'm telling him, like, hey, I don't have the best of metrics, but when it's time to do Spark, I'm getting some good trips coming in also.
Are you a top dasher, Ty, on DoorDash?
Ooh.
Ty, are you a top dasher?
No, he's not.
No, hell no. It was never a top dasher. I was never
you don't give a shit about metrics on any app.
I don't really care about metrics on any app, guys. I mean, when I'm doing rideshare, I'm just myself. I don't stress myself. Oh, my rates. I can show you my app right now on any rideshare app. Never go under a 5.0. I don't try to stay at a 5.0. I just drive and be myself. I don't have no candy in the car. I don't have no waters. I don't have no TVs. I don't have nothing of the sort, So when I go on DoorDash and Spark and stuff, I really don't care about metrics and stuff because I'm multi-apping. So it's like,
yeah, for you, it's really different. And I think you mentioned, hey, Pedro, I was beefing with you because of this and the videos and the acceptance rate. And let me ask you this: do you think that? Because I've talked to Nova many times. He's a friend of Joe. I'm a friend of his. Right, great guy. Right. And I know his AR is usually like in the teens or something, right? So, do you think that some markets are just obviously different, whether it's time zone or not? The spending habits of consumers, the tip rates, the subtotals of certain orders are just different. So, somebody like you that multi-apps, you might not feel the need to have an AR at a certain level. But me, if I'm going to make content for a month or two with mostly DoorDash, I want to see what the difference is if I'm a 30 versus a 70. I've seen some change. I mean, I've seen a little bit of a difference, and it could be coincidence. Like you said, you're talking about the tax returns, seasonal changes. There's a lot of truth in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's like when I hear the argument, it's always like the multi-appers are like, well, all my acceptance rates are low because I'm multi-app. So you guys are obviously you're casting a wider net, which is super smart, right?
Yeah.
But I also think there are a lot of people that could work 5 or 6 apps like you, let's say, in your zone. But there could also be a DoorDash driver out there with a 70% AR, and he could be making the same money as you. That's very feasible.
No, ain't nobody on this side of town doing DoorDash making more money than me. I'm being honest.
Right. I agree with him. I'm the top person in my zone too. I've made $600 easily. I'm just letting you know.
How is there a way to know if you're the top guy? You know what I'm saying? How's there a way to know that?
I'll tell you how I know, because just give an example how I talk to you guys now. I talk to everybody. You can go. Just give an example. You guys know. Go ahead.
Judge, listen, I have 44,000 subscribers. I run into people every day, and I know probably 5% of the Dashers in St. Louis. Come on, man.
Right. Well, the only reason why, the only reason, remember I told you I got 6. I don't know. No, I don't know. I never said I did, but I know a lot of Dashers. Just give an example. It's a dude that I bump into a lot. We're cool. He don't want to join our little group like that, but he said, man, if there were the 2 Dashers that do the most work here in Cleveland, and they had a picture of these people, it would be me and you. Because like literally, I mean, like we call a good day, an average day for us is what we call when you clear 350. That's average. The only reason why is because for my job, I get $35 an hour. So anything, the only reason why I was doing this for a while, because wait a minute, I don't have to worry. I'm making good money and I'm not getting dirty. That was what was a good thing about the dashing, is because, wow, I can make $40 an hour and then I can still go out and get laid afterwards. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm a big woman dog. I mean, hey, that's what got me into trouble. That's why I got 4 kids, rather. Yeah.
We found a new good character on the show. I like it. I want to round it. I kind of want to round it off with Chris up at the top from Australia. We'll kind of go around the matrix and go to Kid. So what? Give me maybe some final thoughts. Right? Did we solve anything tonight? I'll start off. Absolutely, we solved nothing tonight. Okay, we didn't solve any DoorDash issues. We didn't change the world. None of us are better dashers. I think we had some good combo, right? But we didn't solve anything. I think striking, in my opinion, does not work as a 1099. But I do think that there are some benefits to it long term. Like but this is years from now, right? But anytime, like many of you guys have said, when a hand is forced of a company to do something will be taken away. And in my opinion there'll be less opportunities for drivers, because people like Parker or even myself might not be able to work the apps anymore, because they're going to say, well, we used to have 5,000 in St. Louis, but we got this regulation. Okay, now they're going to take everything. We only need 3,000. So automatically 2,000 people lose jobs, or opportunities, not jobs, opportunities, right? So that's kind of how I look at the strike thing and all that kind of stuff. Chris, if you want to give me some final thoughts on the combo tonight, anything you'd like to add to the combo?
Yeah, it's really good to kind of hear as well that America's gone through the same kind of thought process around striking with us. There's some benefits to it. There's also some losses to it. We're both on the same understanding of probably won't work. And if it did start to work, we'd have to unionize up for it, which then starts defeating the point of it all. And we ended up as employees of the company if the unions win in Australia. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. I just had fun being on here, Pedro. It's good that the days lined up. I finally got a Monday off, so jumped on the show.
No, I would love to. Definitely, let's link again. I'd love to have you back on, just you and I talking exclusively some Australia stuff and sharing some ideas. And definitely love to have you back on. I appreciate you coming on tonight, though. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Matrix, final thoughts?
Yeah, I learned that DoorDash drivers cannot strike because there is no union present. I learned that in Australia, Chris is just in the wild, wild west, just delivering orders based on base pay, no customer tip.
And mileage.
Or mileage.
Kilometers is very big over there.
Yeah,
right?
kilometers. That's amazing to just learn that another country, they don't have tips. That's amazing. I learned that Vic the Kid has a really good smile. I learned that JP was a Republican that likes.
Yeah, we did learn that. Yes.
I learned that Judge is off the rails, and I learned that driving with Ty is solid. Kind of agreed with Judge a little bit there. And it was a good show, Pedro. Really good show, man.
No, I love that we had some new people come up. Good energy tonight. Good, different perspectives, which I love. I don't like when we all just agree. That sucks. It makes for a boring show. I like when we're all a little bit different perspectives, different countries. I mean, it's amazing. So, JP, some thoughts?
I've enjoyed this tonight. Normally, I can't stay up late this late to actually get to the end of it. I got to listen to part of it the next day.
Also, JP, what you're saying normally is that I bore you, and you go.
No. I'm normally Sundays are normally a real busy day. Sundays are a busy day for me. I still watch it the next day. I watch it on Mondays. So But I can't stay up this late normally, and. The last thing I'll say about the worries about all of what's going to happen if it happens, you're not going to change what's going to happen. It's going to happen, whatever. And most of the things we worry about, like 97% of them never come to fruition. So why worry about it? And the best analogy I can use is what came from Dara Khosrowshahi, and that is he was really being grilled by the guys on CNBC, and I was enjoying the conversation, and they asked him about what's happened now in Spain, that they have a completely 100% W-2 model, and he said, and this is a quote: "We are now exceeding our long-term profit expectations in Spain. That's the reason we went back there." And it's all 100% a W-2. Now, if that's true, then why didn't he do that here? Okay. Because if you're already exceeding the long-term expectations for profit, you would think that he'd implement that, everywhere he could. It's really simple. Why hasn't he done it? Well, there's no government telling him he has to. That's what it comes down to, is that and that's what the difference is, because this guy knows that he loses control when that happens. And I've enjoyed the entire conversation. I like listening to Judge, and at the beginning I thought he was crazy too, but I actually enjoy a lot of the things that he was saying.
I think we can still say he's crazy, but we could just it's like more normal crazy. That's fine.
Wait. Whoa, wow, man. Thank God I'm not there. Listen, thank God I'm not. Look, this is the beautiful thing about the whole thing. I'm not thin-skinned at all. I understand. I know that, man. Well, no offense. I'm a heterosexual male. That's how heterosexual males bond by talking about each other. We talk right. A lot of people don't realize that heterosexual men bond by talking about each other.
That's a good point.
We're not. I also learned, Pedro,
yes, we do.
Parker is going to become a pharmacist that I'm going to trust my prescription with.
Well, there you go.
Oh God.
Parker is. Look at this guy.
Let's kick it to Parker. So Parker, some final thoughts, my friend.
Oh man, I've learned so much. I just kind of turned my webcam off at the end. Just really had to slow in. These five guys that are with Judge, they might be like the Illuminati. I'm kind of scared of them. Like, they seem very mysterious. I don't know what's going on. No, final thoughts. I think it's really easy to get down these rabbit holes like very quickly, of like all these conversations just go into more in depth. But I think at the end of the day, keeping in mind really the way that you phrase it, Pedro, is how do we win at the end of the day? And for me personally, like, I think my thing, especially being in healthcare and being kind of biased, I would like to live in a world where someone using DoorDash, if they got sick or need to go to the doctor, they can afford to do that, worrying about rent the next day. And I think a lot of these things are, especially in America, tied to very systemic things. Our country is unlike any other. So a lot of these are outside of DoorDash's control and have to deal with the government's control. That would be how I would win at the end of the day. Matrix, if you have any other like burrito kicking ideas for whenever I want to get deactivated.
If you want to go out with a bang, Parker, I'm telling you, get K1 St. Louis, pick your last order of your career, get that no tip, take just the $2 order, run that burrito up the street, put it out in front of you like a punter in the NFL, and just kick that shit down the street. Double middle fingers.
Listen, I don't know if I could be a part of that, but me and Parker could.
Hey, Joe. Of course you could be a part of that.
have the customer record it.
If you're gonna toss it in, Parker, go out in flames. Like just go out on top.
Victor Kid, some thoughts, my friend?
No, I liked it. It was a great show. A lot of different perspectives, and honestly, JP, like I really enjoyed our conversation and our back and forth. I really enjoyed your perspective, and in all honesty, I really would, help support you and see where this goes. I just think we can do both. I think we could win in the long term and win now.
I agree, and I also enjoyed the back and forth. So I do. I agree. Yeah. We can do both. I think you can do all of it.
But it does take time, Victor Kid. Yeah. It takes time. It took time in California, and it took time in the state of Washington. So it does take time. Like we've got to go through the other 48 states. It does take time. It can't happen overnight.
It's going to take a lot. I just think it's going to take a long time. I mean, you got to understand, man, every state is different. And it's going to me, it's just going to take a long time. That's why I think now we got to learn skills now. We can't do it on one app. We could do it on another app, or we can make our own business. We could win now. Even with the recession coming, we can win now. We could find skills, figure out ways to make money. We don't have to continuously fight Goliath to figure out how we're going to get them to give us more money. No, we can make our own money. We can control our own narrative. We could do what we want, when we want, how we want.
You do what Pedro did. You launch a YouTube channel, get 1,000 subs, and try and monetize it. We could do that, now.
Listen, I think what I did is rare and it's not easy, but it's not. I think to Vic's point is there are opportunities even during a recession and things for people that are forward thinking and have a little hustle, a little bit of grind, a little bit of motivation. There's opportunities to make money. I really honestly believe that. And I think the gig apps are just, for me, that's just a facet of that. Right, it's just a portion of that.
One more thing, to like JP's point. Look, I can agree. Like, yeah, they're making Google bucks up top, but then what does that tell you? If they continuously keep making millions and millions of dollars, that tells you that the money's there. It's just somewhere else. It's just somewhere else. You just gotta hustle and find it. Yeah. You gotta hustle and find it.
Yeah, well, and that, don't get me wrong, I agree with you. That's why I just started a dumpling business. Okay, and I make per delivery on dumpling. I make, oh boy, I bet my average is $45. So it's real simple. I agree with you. That's the kind of thing that we need to do. But a lot of people in the gig world aren't willing to put the work in to do that.
They're lazy.
They want they want to come in and work for 2 or 3 hours tonight and make $100 and go home. Well, that's not the way it is anymore. You're not going to do that today. So now you have to look at a different way to make the money. That's all. It's just that simple. And
I started a YouTube channel 4 months ago, and I made videos 2 or 3 times a week. I got like 500 subs. I was like, all right, I'm on pace. And I stopped because my channel wasn't getting any more subscribers. And I just stopped. On Super Bowl Sunday was my last video. And I just either recreate my videos or do something different. But I thought I was on a real good trajectory to have 1,000 subs and whatever. And I was excited. And then it just went straight downhill. And I just stopped.
You have to keep at it. I was doing YouTube for a while back in the day. I was actually with a very high-end content creator. If I said his name, you would know. And I was blackballed by his group then. But you have to just keep at it, because all you could need is one good video and you'll be in there. And
Judge,
I used to have 300-400 people watching me.
Hey, Judge, that's what I did. Yeah. I was releasing these videos and I got like 1,000 views, 800 views. And then all of a sudden, one video, I got 6,000 views. And I couldn't even it. I was like, what the hell is going on? YouTube was like recommending my video. So I thought, shit, this is going to be easy. I'm going to make this today. and then it went
Or you got to keep
downhill.
you got to keep at it. Like, just give an example. I came on the scene. I was with a controversial YouTuber called Tommy Sotomayor way back in the day. So just give an example. I'm from that sector. So like just give an example is I'm known around, like how you say my antics here, y'all didn't just because you don't know me, but I'm known around, like you ask the people that know me, they'll say, oh yeah, he's a little edgy. And like, like some people say, well, why are you still doing this? I hate to say something. I'm a workaholic. I have a thing where that's my addiction to work. Like I work on houses for a living. I build houses, remodel bathrooms. Like literally, if I'm not working, I feel depressed. So I like that. Like the gig apps are nice because you can pull it out anytime you want and all like that. But the reason I don't like is I don't like how they're treating the drivers, and I've seen the manipulation there. Just like I've stopped companies. I used to be an auditor for 6 years. I've stopped companies from having theft. And like one of the things that burns me up, like why I don't steal and stuff no more, is actually because one of the companies that we were doing our thing with went out of business. And I thought that maybe if we would expose like what we were doing to steal money from them, that company would still be in business and all those people would still be employed. Because it was a Fortune 500 company that is gone now. And maybe they didn't know the vulnerabilities that we took advantage of. And my thing was after I left then to always do right and look out for the little guy, because you wouldn't believe the little guy gets screwed all the time.
Oh, that's
like literally.
That's
Parker's covering his mouth again. He's trying not to laugh.
Right. Well, I mean, look, he doesn't bother me.
I just like to crack him up.
No, but it doesn't bother. Look, he can go ahead and believe what he wants to believe because he doesn't know me.
He just made a facial thing.
Right. But I mean, it's just what it is. The little you think about it. The aspects of this DoorDash system shows you everything. If you don't pay attention to anything, the manipulation, first they were stealing from you. If you don't want to say that this company is trustworthy, they've been caught stealing multiple times. Even after they got caught the first time for stealing the tips, they got caught doing it again. On top of that, what about the time where you go, okay, here's the question. I got 5 other things I can prove to you. What about the time where you go to the order to pick the order up and all of a sudden the order disappears off your app? I'm pretty sure that that's happened to other drivers. What about when you don't get your half pay when they do that, or especially on a Friday night when you call customer service and under no circumstances can you get through?
But you're missing the key factor.
Right?
We don't pay attention. We don't pay attention. That's a point. We're lazy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pay attention, and we don't care. That's what I'm trying to say. We could win now. We could do this, guys. We can all win. There are billions of dollars just waiting for all of us. There is more than enough money to go around. We can do this. We can teach each other to learn our markets and figure out what we can do to make money. We don't have to continuously fight and bicker and complain and moan. We can do this. We all can do this.
We would have to form a union, Vic, like a community union. We'd have to join arms with each other as individual independent contractors to do this now.
We don't need a union. We have it already. We have it.
Right. We already have it. It's called the internet.
We have it in the form of channels, forums, Reddit groups, Facebook. We have that.
Vic,
right?
can we compile enough of us on the internet, on Pedro's YouTube? Do you think we need thousands of us? Not hundreds, thousands.
Yes.
I'm
there
are
50 states.
Let me rain on y'all parade with that, man. Let me rain on y'all parade.
I'm not sure.
I've been hearing this since 2016, guys. 2016, from when Rideshare Revolution was beefing with what's the guy named Rideshare Professor, right?
Biggie Smalls.
Yeah. So here's the thing with that. And I'm gonna have to use Rideshare with this, guys. Okay, say in my city, 1,000 people just turned off their app, right? Do y'all know how crazy that surge is going to be? $38 plus, $42 plus.
Definitely.
Ty, how would you communicate with all of those people at one time to turn off their apps? How?
Well, back in the day,
we have Facebook groups, like our Facebook groups and the DMV is huge, right?
Maybe.
But here's my point. Here's my point. Even if 1,000 people turn off their apps, right? Even if 1,000 people, with that surge that high, $38, $40, it's gonna be 500 people that get out their bed and get to that money. So
Right,
it's never going to work. This strike stuff. I'm not trying to rain on people's parade.
We don't want to strike here. I don't want you to think we want.
Okay,
to
that's true.
Strike.
Oh no, we don't want. I don't want that. I don't want you to get it
okay, yeah, because I hear not on here. I don't think I heard it here,
No,
but on
Ty, it was like Ty. We were saying like you can't strike on as a DoorDash driver because we're not part of a goddamn union. You can't organize a strike.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, if somehow you could, it's still going to bring that surge aspect outside on DoorDash. The peak pay will be. I ain't never seen no $15 peak pay, but I bet you that day that peak pay gonna be $15, $20. They gonna fix that. You know, they gonna fix that system. So like Rideshare Professor, he's one of the first people that yelled strike since 2016, guys. Since I've been out here doing the gig economy game, and every time somebody yells strike. I swear to goodness, they throw something else stupid on the app and be like, "Oh, y'all should have been happy with it. Oh, you guys want tips? Okay, this the thing. Let's talk about the tips. When I was driving, when I first got signed up, I did 5 trips in 2014, and I stopped driving after that because I had went to go get my CDL. But 2014, you didn't need no tips, right? You didn't need no tips at all. Then you had drivers getting greedy. I'm talking about we was getting $25 a pop, $30 a pop on trips, right? You had drivers getting greedy. Oh, I think we should get tips. Oh, here go Uber. Say less. We give you some tips. But we're taking 20% now. We're taking 20% now for the chance for you to get maybe a 20% chance on tips.
Right.
Yep.
There no drivers complaining, oh, they're taking 50, 60. It's the driver's fault.
Well, this is another thing that I want to tell you guys. The worst thing that they ever did is this, and I'm telling you, like, as a person that knows about computers and stuff, is actually for them to say, we do 24-hour tracking. That way they know, if you ever noticed before then, we could sometimes get a $9 peak pay in Cleveland. And you'd be like, what? Because sometimes they'd have, like, just nobody would log in. So it was like minimum plus 9. And that's like unheard of at places. But what they do is this. Now that you say, we track you 24 hours a day, and we share that information with all of our affiliates and restaurants if they want it. That's what it says in the law if you read that when it came to the 24-hour tracking. The reason that, go ahead.
But what is that? But think about that. Everybody's saying it's possible. So then what does that mean? That means we have power. We already have it.
But listen, this is the problem. But let me finish. The problem with the 24-hour tracking is this. They already know how many Dashers are in the area, even when they're not logged in. So what they do, and if you've noticed, ever since they went to 24-hour tracking, what has changed? What they do is, even before the area is getting busy, you're getting text messages talking about come dash. Even like this is, remember, like I said, manipulation. What you do is this: if you send 1,000 text messages out and 30 more Dashers log in, you've cut your pay that you have to pay out for a lot. That saves you thousands. Maybe because you guys have never done a law of numbers and never been a salesman, had to eat what you kill. That saves thousands and thousands of dollars. That's the reason why when the 24-hour tracking came, like literally, when I go offline, first thing I do is turn my location off because they know exactly where you are, and they say, it's busy in this area. Why don't you think about dashing? I mean, if you realize,
you can. I was going to say, you can in the app. You can turn off on any app. You can stop them from tracking you when you're not on it.
But listen, this is what like. If you notice that, don't believe me, just look at all the reviews on Google. Go to Google right now. Look at the reviews on DoorDash for the last 2 months when they talk about the app. The app freezes and so many crashes because your phone keeps blocking them from seeing where you are. That's the reason why you've probably downloaded the app more than 1 or 2 times in the last month. Because I know I'm downloading I'm re-downloading the app often because it breaks in our area. And
for me, I don't.
Cleveland, like,
for me, I don't.
Reviews on Google. It can't be thousands and thousands of people saying the same exact thing. I don't know all these people. They ain't part of my group.
Yeah, but I don't look at.
Go to Google Play Store and read the reviews for the last 2 months for DoorDash.
Yes, sorry, they do canary releases. They do canary releases. They put out a build from the developers. Sometimes it breaks, and a bunch of developers, they pull it back, roll out a new build for it. So a bunch of dashes at the time, they deal with a potentially breaking little bit of software that they're trialing. We see that all the time. In Australia, we get dropouts. Like every dash is dropped out because they've decided to deploy a new update when everyone's logged in. We'll get knocked out because we're on the old software. Their system goes down for 5, 10, 15, sometimes an hour. But that's canary releasing software. That's a common practice. And of course, it's going to break for people using it at that time.
Yeah, and I think we also have, I don't look at DoorDash as the I guess I used to give them more of my energy, is what I would say. Like I used to give them more of my energy and thought, and I think that that's okay. But like I also realize that there's a lot of other stuff that's tracking us. Like I'm not worried about DoorDash tracking where I'm at. I could care less. If I'm being honest, like I'm on YouTube right now. Like, like I have a webcam, like I have devices that are turned on. Like we're all being tracked. So I don't look at the app like that.
Pedro, I don't care about them tracking me. Think about this is the problem though. This company is known for this. I don't care about them tracking me. Actually, I prefer my apps to track me because I want to see ads for shit that I like. Sure. But the fact is, when your money-making app tracks the drivers for that, they are not tracking the drivers to help pay you more money. It's to cut your pay. Everything is to save money. When have they done a benefit of life increase for the drivers? Like saying, for now on a $2 order after 9:30 at night, it's no handed to me. Because you don't need to be waiting at somebody's house at 2 o'clock in the morning on a $2 order and waiting 5 minutes because you can't find them. You're setting it up to be robbed.
Why you outside at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning?
So let me ask you a question.
It's choices.
If you're worried about the driver, if you're worried about the driver's safety and well-being, that wouldn't be allowed. It's more about your profits first, and you have to realize that this is what this company has done.
Every company,
like literally,
every company. Name me one company. Name me a for-profit company that doesn't want to make profit.
But listen, Peter. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is you're pushing so hard on certain things. Like, because a couple things that DoorDash does great, like the half pay no matter what. Because how many times have you gone for pick up a $30 order for Uber, and then you get there and they don't have it, or it's been picked up, and you get that $2.
So that's
ridiculous. At least get half.
Let me add this, Judge. You said at the top of this show, very first introduction, that you were going to melt our faces and put DoorDash out of business. By the time
I plan to.
Motherfucker.
Well, we're gonna say, hold on. We're gonna save that for another live. We're not doing.
What is your intention?
No, we're not doing that tonight. No.
Pedro.
Just 10 seconds. 10 seconds, Pedro. 10 seconds.
We're not doing it tonight. We're not doing it tonight. Listen. We're not gonna do it tonight. We're gonna say that for another show. Me and oh my God.
Judge.
I'm gonna give you my number. I'll put it in the back.
We're gonna talk offline. We're gonna do a whole. We'll do a whole another stream.
He said he was gonna put the goddamn company underneath.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna have a whole another show like that at some point.
Hey Pedro, I'm gonna give you my number. I'm gonna put my number in the chat. All of you cools are cool. We can text and all like that.
No, I love it. I
like the fact that you can take. Like I said, like you can take my harshness, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not I don't handle things with I'm what do they call it when you
kid gloves.
Not kid gloves, but they say I could work on my what do they call it when you kind of deliver something nicely. I kind of like hit it with a sledgehammer.
Judge, let me tell you something. You haven't been here that long then, because I get a lot of shit, bro. So you coming in how you came tonight. Trust me,
I've been watching you for months.
No, but
bro, I've been watching you for months.
Judge,
like my dude, he's not too fond of you, but I like you. I've been watching you for months.
We're good. Like the way you came in is fine. Don't worry about it. You don't have to. You could put the kids' glove away. I got people doing crazy things about me. We're good, man. Trust me.
It's trying to shop. just wrecking shop.
Oh man,
all good,
bro,
man.
I like the fact though, but see, I like the fact that you guys are fucking men, because you know, I mean, people nowadays can't. Oh, you hurt my feelings on the way you talked about that company, and I feel scared.
No, we're not. We don't do that. Man. I mean, you saw JP and Vic had a good little. You know, people can have like a different viewpoints, and we can as people just talk it out. Like we're talking about. Listen. I gotta remind y'all something. I gotta remind y'all something. And Ty's been doing this since what, 2016, right, Ty?
2016. Well, I took my first trip and my first couple of trips in 14, but I restarted back in 16. So,
and we got somebody over here from Australia. Listen, y'all, we are delivering McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? We got to remind ourselves, this is not rocket science. It's not that difficult. It's fun. I usually have a good time doing it, and I provide for my family. So at the end of the day, I don't, Judge is going to drop a nuke bomb on DoorDash's doorstep. I'm cool with it. Judge is going to do what he wants. I don't care that much about it. I'm just being honest, because for me, it's an opportunity, and I want my fellow drivers to do well so they can get to the next opportunity, because most of us aren't going to be able to do this for 10 years. Most drivers won't do this for more than 5. Most drivers don't do this for more than 5 months, guys.
10%.
So for me, it's just about getting to the next opportunity.
I gotta go, Pedro. My number's in the back. Anybody also going there, just text me and be like, "That's my first name. I was with you in the thing." Like that's it. Look, I'm one of those ones, Pedro. I don't give a damn what time it is. If you ever call, you can call anytime. Okay, 24 hours.
I got you.
All right. Now let me go ahead and get into some more trouble. Hopefully, I won't owe no more child support.
Oh God!
Good luck.
Deliver the guy
and have fun.
I like it. Listen,
Pedro.
y'all. That's
he called you Pedro. That was sweet.
I love that. That's actually he's actually closer to pronouncing my name than most of you guys, right?
So like, the way he says grammatically correct based on your
way he says it is actually more appropriate. So actually,
Pedro.
Pedro. Well, okay, that's what we're going with now, Pedro.
Listen, Ty, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, I had a good time tonight. I appreciate Chris joining. JP, good to see you. Vic, Matrix, like always. Ty, appreciate you coming on again, man. We had a good conversation. I hope you guys got some kind of value from it, and I hope to see you guys back at a later date. Appreciate y'all very much.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Hey, guys, stay safe.
Good talk.
All right, man. Thanks, Ty.
All right.
So a lot happened tonight, man. You never know what you're going to get on this show. I appreciate the live chat for y'all being in here. I know I missed a lot, I'm sure. New guests came on tonight this week. Obviously we were kind of like, the strike stuff, the percentage of this and the pay. And we talked obviously the strike stuff. Like I said, we talked about all kinds of stuff. DoorDash manipulation. Do they care what they should do? We got some great perspective from Australia. I love that Chris joined us. I feel like I knew a little bit about the tipping culture in Australia, because what we have to remind ourselves in America, it's very different than other parts of the world as far as expectations and normalcy. So really interesting to hear that, his is about the kilometers, the mileage, the flat rate of the 550, I think he said, and then it's based on kilometers and things like that. Really interesting. But the money he's making in comparison to us, I think, is actually on the higher end. I think it was $30 to $35 US per hour. I think a lot of you guys would be ecstatic making that, right? So obviously he's getting more pay from the company than he is the consumer, because there's no tips, but the consumer's just paying obviously more of an inflated menu price probably than they are in the US, plus more of a delivery fee or service fee, regulatory fee, whatever. So really great conversation. Really looking forward to getting that information from Judge. I'll be waiting that 175 pay screen. I would love to do a video on that. I mean, I think that's crazy. Uber sends out things that are way lower than that. But for me, we should never, as drivers on any app, see $1 whatever. We should never see $2 whatever. Quite frankly, we shouldn't see 3 in whatever sense, right? But to see $1.75, that's wild. I mean, so definitely be looking for a video about that, So in the beginning, I said this was going to be either a 2-hour show or a 4-hour show. And I think we're at 3.5 hours. So I guess I lied, because I don't think I want to stay out another 30 minutes. I had some other things on my mind, but I think the show is kind of good where it's at right now. And I don't feel like talking about any other little subjects would just kind of be just a waste of your guys' time and mine. So I think this is a good show for tonight. I will be going out this week. I do have one challenge video that will probably happen either Tuesday, or maybe it'll happen Tuesday and maybe you'll see it on Wednesday. That'll be coming. So be on the lookout for that. Appreciate all the support, all the new subscribers, all the super chats we got tonight. Appreciate you guys very, very much. I'm very humbled and honored to be one of the content creators that you guys watch. And I think we have the best show in the gig community that's live. Sunday nights are amazing. You guys make it that. We end our week together. We start a new week together. Appreciate all the love and support. You guys have a great rest of your weekend.